Hi, comic book readers, and welcome to another episode of Off the Rack. I am Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
This is a live comic book review show where we talk about comic books and comic book movies, and then we review them for you. And also we recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think that you should buy yourselves. Of course, if you're catching the show on audio, like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to give us a 5-star rating. That would help us out and weed out some of the naysayers out there. But you know what? Doesn't really matter. You know, we get paid either way. We don't get paid on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so it really doesn't matter. But I'm glad you're listening to us anyway.
Yeah.
If you're watching us here on YouTube, of course, if you want to help us out more directly, you can do so by simply subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Somehow the likes help. I don't know how. I've never been explained why, but Mr. Sunday thinks so, I'm inclined to agree. But yes, I'm really excited to talk about today's episode because we're talking about two massive Marvel Cinematic Universe entries into Phase 5. And for my money, some of the best that we've gotten. But I don't want to spoil too much. I just want to talk more specifically about those in a minute. But before we do, of course, we're also going to talk about comic books. So let's talk first. Kind of sandwich it a little bit. We're going to talk about Loki. We're going to talk about Loki Season 2.
And if I may,
please.
If you're live in our chat right now, hold your spoilers for the movie until we get to that portion of the show.
This is true. This also includes Super Chats. Please don't spoil the show or movie in the Super Chats initially.
Yeah. Just because we want to wait and give people a chance. If they want to hear some Loki chat, they want to hear some comic book chat, give them a chance to get out of here when we get to the spoiler section.
Exactly.
All right, so please hold off, and we appreciate you very much.
Yes, if you want to help out the show in any kind of financial way, you can always super chat us by using super chats in the comments or chat below or adjacent to the video, and those will go into the show. They'll be part of the show forever. We'll read it here on the program. And of course, if you are catching that after the fact, you can do super thanks or simply go to patreon.com/ComicPop to help us out more directly. But of course, none of that is required. None of our shows are behind paywalls unless it's early access, which of course is only for our other show on youtube.com/ComicPop for pack issues. Which is out right now actually for patrons.
So you want to talk about some Loki?
Let's talk about some Loki. Yeah, Loki Season 2. So I will tell you that the first season, you know, I was very excited for it and I really enjoyed it for the majority of it. I'd say I liked something about every single episode. I liked the entire season, and I was almost a little bit disappointed that there was going to be a season 2. I was kind of hoping that it was going to transition into like a movie or that it was going to have some kind of fallout. Obviously, you know, with the implication of Kang or He Who Remains, there was some kind of expectation that it was going to be the like big bad and it was going to factor it in some way. And instead, it really just carried over into the second season of the show, which is great. Good idea.
No, I know I remembered the first season, but I'll be honest with you, when we started this season, it felt like it came out like 10 years ago,
right?
Because
it was during COVID.
Which didn't help. Like, you know, there's a weird, I don't know, like memory block for me for that time period for like certain things. Like I had like key moments from the show in my head.
Yes.
Like I was like, I remember like some of the beats, but I felt like I probably
could use a refresher,
which I appreciated their opening. Like, hey, last time on Loki kind of thing where they gave you some stuff. But I was like, there definitely was more things that I was like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. And that's on me. If I really had wanted to, I could have like gone and rewatched some of it, you know, especially those last few episodes of season 1.
Yeah.
But I had like nothing but positive vibe memories of it. So I was like, all right, let's get into season 2.
Yeah.
And admittedly, in the beginning of it, I felt a little lost and almost as though it was a little slow.
Absolutely. No,
like starting off.
Well, I happen to love the first episode. The first episode of Loki, I think, really grabbed me. I really liked the tone and how where we were, the mystery that was associated, knowing that it was done. Knowing that they had shot the whole thing, that it wasn't one of those like, well, this is a mid-season thing. Like, there's a big, problem with the MCU, particularly all of their TV projects and their approach to them, and how like they shot 5 episodes of Daredevil and then threw them all away, and now they're going to get showrunners and pilots and all this stuff. You know, part of my enthusiasm for any Marvel TV program was the idea that Marvel Studios was going to make essentially long-form content.
Right.
That was something that was exciting to me because it meant that they were able to keep all the crap out. Of course, we all know where that ended up, but like, you know, we could avoid some pitfalls of where S.H.I.E.L.D. ended up or how Inhumans turned out or any of the other spin-off shows that claimed to be part of the universe but didn't. I cite most season 2s of all the Netflix Marvel shows, but like, or 3s, but that was not the case. Though Loki, I think, benefited directly from the fact that they were Marvel Studios just making this Marvel production. And even though it seems that they're changing things up and going forward, they're going to have a more TV approach to their productions, I'm like, oh no, but I feel like after Loki season 2, you finally got it right. You figured out how to make a serialized installation of the franchise without also making it feel like a 6-hour movie. Because Loki does not feel like a 6-hour movie. I don't think you can supercut this. Moon Knight, Falcon Winter Soldier, even not WandaVision, but all the other ones, you can probably squish them together, cut out the fat, and make a pretty exciting 2-hour cut of most of those most of those shows. With Loki, it benefits directly from it being this new kind of TV show.
Right.
And so I really liked it, and I'm sad that like it came now after we heard about the kind of like new approach to Marvel TV, because I feel like this should be a watermark. This is a high benchmark for their for their output. I mean, this versus, I think WandaVision is one of the strongest showings. This dwarfs it for me. So
okay, yeah, no, that's fair. That's really fair.
Right?
Like at the end of the day, I really liked the show. But the first few episodes, I struggled.
Certainly,
I struggled to become invested again with what was going on.
Yeah. Episode 2 was definitely the lowest point of the show for me.
That was real rough.
Yes.
Like I appreciate, like you mentioned, there were parts of episode 1 I definitely enjoyed. Like Ouroboros for me was as a high point. Every time he was on screen, I was like, this is great.
Ke Kwan's amazing, wonderful incredible addition. And it wasn't one of those things where like we didn't know, because the last thing we saw him in was The Goonies. It's because of his entry in Everything Everywhere All at Once that kind of like showed his range and showed like, because for a lot of us Western viewers, that was kind of like the last time we saw him. So and so we were able to go like, oh no, he is acting, he is doing something, he is creating something. And his addition to this cast was welcome and delightful. Although the returning cast members were also at their A game, I would say.
For sure.
Obviously Tom Hiddleston's the breakout because he's the star and the executive producer of the entire series.
Yes.
And was going to give himself like, it's like that Extras episode where it's like, when you actors, you only can say yes or no, but when you're writing, you're creating your own opportunities. But yeah, no, Tom Hiddleston's amazing. Obviously the return of Owen Wilson as Mobius and et al., his other identity was great. And everybody else in the show, like there was no weak point in the show, which I was like, wow, what a refreshing experience this is, that everyone acting in the show did a great job. I even think even like some of those characters that they were doing bit parts, like Tara Strong, nice job. Like different kind of voice, different kind of approach. I hate to, I don't want to get into like the politics of any of these particular, not politics, but more like the controversies that are surrounding some of these actors, especially when they're alleged or, it's up in the air. Again, I'm not going to get into that, but I will say like there were some strong performances in the show. And it just made me enjoy the show all the more, and made me forget any of the noise surrounding it, which is always nice. We're becoming way too connected to like blurring the lines between entertainment and politics / the noise from the machine, capital M. And so this was nice, just kind of like watch the show and enjoy the show for what it is, and remember that it's part of like a thing. Like there was something more direct in the first season when Loki opens a drawer and he finds a whole bunch of Infinity Stones, and it's like I spent like 2 whole movies like looking for one of these things, and like I you know what I mean, and now they're just junk in a drawer. I can't and while that is a great moment for him to kind of like shake him out of his like priorities, it's also like a real Marvel Universe victory lap Easter egg where they're like, look at the Infinity Stones, remember those? This show, very little of that, if any.
Well, I mean, that for me was the like tearing him down.
Season, I mean,
like the first season 1 was like tearing Loki down, and having him like, even though it's set across something much grander than himself, it is really about him, and it's about learning that everything that he thought he was or wanted to be is wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is great because it informs his character and his direction.
Yeah. And in this one, it was a bit of a continuation of that, but
Mhm.
on the other side of it. Like
Yes.
he's like, all right, I've accepted this, and now where am I going next?
Right, we're not waiting for the other shoe to
You
drop,
know,
because you could watch all of season 1 and think like, "Oh, Loki's going to betray them at the end."
yeah, and but this season was Loki being like, I'm a part of the TVA. Like
Yes.
I'm part of this, and I care about these people,
Yeah.
and I understand something larger than myself, which we started seeing a little bit of
Mhm.
in some of the movies. We got a little glimmer
Yeah,
of
and then
the
in
potential.
Endgame, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Or Infinity War? Infinity War.
of what he could be, and this really kind of rounds out that character arc for him.
Yeah.
But it felt like a few episodes early on were just kind of info dumping
Yes, like,
on us.
maybe it was an expectation
Or
of
filler. It was hard to tell. It was like this combination of like, you have to know this information,
Mhm.
but also how far can we
Yeah, it could be like
expand it? I can't
it could be
tell.
that we only had 4 episodes worth of content in this show, or it could be that the show
I don't
itself didn't,
know.
like, the showrunners didn't trust you enough to carry this concept, because by the end, like by episode 6,
Mhm.
they show don't tell for a lot of it. You know, you are expected to just be like,
Yeah.
we gave you the plot. We spent at least 3 episodes
Yes.
explaining what the plot was and what the rules are and
Yes.
how to follow it. We're gonna take the training wheels off now and just let you enjoy the show.
Right.
And follow along using like cinematography, acting, and music, and that's it.
Right.
You know, no unnecessary expository dialogue. And I'm like, wow, all right, cool. But again, that was exactly what I was not expecting, but also what I got with the show. But yeah, by the time we got to episode 4, things switched over. Although, you know, from the teaser that we got at the end of one of the movies, I think Quantumania, where they showed you Victor Timely and all that stuff,
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, so I think I have a feeling I know what this is going. Especially when I was getting info from people who are getting like screeners, and we had
Mhm.
screeners, but I don't like to cast a like janky looking version of the show with my
Mhm.
name across it. I'd rather just watch the show, especially because I always get the screener links like a day before or the day of the show's
Yeah.
release, and I'm like, how helpful is this?
Additionally, we were like, I had also kind of taken over our TV.
Oh yes, our viewing watching.
Our viewing time with Fall of the House of Usher.
Yes. Because it wasn't also that we just like watched the show. You were like, no, we're going to take our time with this show as well.
Yeah,
So,
I really wanted to.
but I'm glad we actually came back, and I'm glad we didn't binge this show, because by episode 5, certainly by episode 4, but by the time we finished episode 5, I was champing at the bit to finish this show. Not because I was like, I can't wait for it to be over, but I just need to see
Oh, that's
where
interesting.
this goes.
I was not as passionate about this, but I still enjoyed it. And actually, the last episode, that was the highlight for me.
No, it was,
And I guess that's really just
it's the
because
culmination.
it's Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm like, obviously, that's why I'm interested in this. Is
Mhm.
you know, Tom Hiddleston being charming as ever.
Yes.
Because a lot of the strength of, I think, what got me through some of the lulls for
Yes.
me was the
Chemistry.
the chemistry between Tom Hiddleston and most of his supporting or the other actors.
Yes.
Because I think they've moved beyond just being supporting actors.
No,
They
they're
are
all
the core.
they're part of the show. Like when
Yeah.
there's a scene, there are many scenes where we see the core group
Mhm.
multiple times in one shot, and I'm like, these are the cast members.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and there was a real like there were some concerns I had with the show because of my preconceived ideas about what Marvel was trying to do, or what Marvel lets things like lets happen because of their kind of like feet desking, like let the showrunners do what they want. I don't really care. We're all just kind of benefiting from our own like success. But I was surprised. I was surprised by directions of characters. You know, like there's a real version of this movie in the multiverse where Ravonna Renslayer became the main character.
Oh, sure.
Or like,
sure.
or we did a whole other season of like, we got to make sure that Sylvie knows she's the most important person on in the multiverse.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like there's just these elements where I'm like, they were definitely some of the weaker points of the previous season that were only made stronger in this season when they recognize like what the show's about and how do we get to it.
Right.
Even Sylvie is given not work to do, but you know, because she kind of gets out of the way of the plot.
Yeah.
Because I think she was more of a MacGuffin in the first season, and then in this season they're like, there were clear moments where I'm like, either they had a different idea about what to do with her, or they had nothing to do. Like they were like, I don't know what to do with her anymore.
Right.
Because there are scenes where she just literally gets out of the way of the movie
I assume
or
it's
the show.
because they were like, we want her to be a part of the show, but the entire last season was about chasing her down. And
Yes.
so it's like
And then the first 2
now,
episodes are let's get her back. And I'm like, oh
yeah,
God.
so it's like, hang on, let's give a little room for some of the other characters to shine.
Right? Yeah, and we get like I remember Eugene Cordero's character visibly from the show.
Yeah.
But only in this season was he given any like dialogue that's memorable or any scenes that he can actually work with. Like everyone in this show, even Ravonna Renslayer to some degree, was given more to do in this.
Yes.
And yet it didn't feel overfull, overstuffed.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I I think the more I'm sitting here thinking about it,
Yeah.
I think it's just, as you were mentioning, the idea of what this type of show is. I think that's what threw me off. And if I were in a position to rewatch, 12 hours of content between season 1 and season 2,
Yeah.
that I would find it was probably a better watch.
Yes.
Almost like, instead of reading month to month, reading the trade, right? Because I'm wondering if season 2 doesn't operate necessarily like the way that a season 2 typically operates, because the beginning of season 2 felt like a lot of cleanup.
Yes, it was like, okay, here's what worked, here's what didn't, and here's what I want the show to be now.
Right, but also like, we have to deal with a whole bunch of stuff we left over in season 1, which is fair, and I appreciate
we
them
did
addressing it 100%. But we go so hard on that at the start that I'm like, what is this about?
Right,
where are we going?
I definitely did not get the identity of the show.
Yeah,
for the first 2 episodes,
and that could just be from like approaching it from a standard season 1, season 2 sort of setup, where it's like, typically, yes, we deal with stuff from the first season, but like we don't just like lace the first couple of episodes with just dealing with that stuff.
Right. No.
And so like I don't like, again, like I did not have a negative experience with this at all. I just found myself at times. I didn't find myself as like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, and again, they're very different things. But like Fall the House of Usher, like I had to really pace myself. Where I was just like, we could just watch this whole thing.
Right. Exactly.
But I really don't want to. I really want to like watch one and then the next night watch another one. Like I just wanted them to set in. But like by the end of that, like I was like, I literally cannot wait to see how this is going to go. And I kind of already know how it's going to go.
Yes.
So I didn't have that experience with this, but I still enjoyed myself.
Right. Well, I felt like it was going to be a slog. I even put myself out there on Twitter where I was like, is the show pacing as bad as episode 2? And some people, I remember one person said that wait until episode 4, then it's really when it starts getting going. And I'm like, there's 6 episodes of the show, right? Like you're saying that 2/3 of the show is bad.
Yeah, it's not that it's bad.
Because the first episode I loved,
right?
And then the second episode I did not. But I still appreciated what was going on. I just didn't really connect with it, and I was very disappointed by the pacing, just the editing of the show.
Yeah.
And by episode 3, I'm like, okay, I'm back in. And then 4 ramps it up. 5, I think, was like a really strong showing, but it only got better. Each episode incrementally raised the stakes and started to like show its hand about where it's going, until we finally got to the last episode, which again, like there's a lot to love about the ending of the show, and it's a wonderful opportunity for them to end that saga or move it to another place, or simply make it a kind of like, Chekhov's gun. Maybe one day we'll deal with this. We'll hang it up on the wall and deal with this another time. Like, and here's where we get into spoilers. I want to spoil it a little bit.
Loki, that is.
Loki.
So
Loki season 2. So at the
still no Marvel spoilers, please.
But Loki season 2, the end of the show, Loki basically like finds religion and becomes the god he wants to be, and flies in the face of like fate and fortune and all the things that he thought were what he was looking for, and inevitably becomes what is actually known in the comics as the god of stories.
Yeah.
And so he uses this like inborn power of his to like reignite the life within the multiverse and kind of like feed it himself.
Yep.
On a throne that he sought from the beginning, and turns the whole damn multiverse on its side and reignites what I thought immediately was Yggdrasil.
Yeah.
Was the world tree.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is or if it's more like a metaphor, because of course, like you pointed out.
Well, we were watching it and I was like, oh, of course it's going to be a tree because of the iconography of that mythology. But I was also like, they just keep talking about pruning and
like, branches. And it's like, oh, of course
like, it's going to be a tree.
It's going to be a tree. But it's like, but it works in so many, like, and when I say so many, I mean 2 levels where Loki comes from Asgardian myth and legend. The world tree is a huge element of that, but also they're talking about branches and pruning and whatnot. They use this kind of like plant like metaphor.
Yeah.
But they don't beat you over the head with it. No
Yeah.
one says there could have easily been a moment where Sylvie says a tree, of course. And it's like, ugh, like, you know, there could have been, but there were no moments like that throughout this show where characters just say what they're feeling or point at the thing that they don't trust the audience to understand.
Yeah.
Even though it's like pretty basic stuff, you know, it's not terribly hard to understand, but it was also just nice to be trusted as an audience member for once, especially with something that like we've been watching for 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. I really liked that. And we put Loki over there, and like Loki is this reluctant but, you know, forward facing, accepting, you know, character that, you know, embraces his fate and takes it on and goes to places that he you know, otherwise would never have done without the growth he experiences from the show we watched.
Right.
Oh, what a novel concept.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it too, because it gives him an opportunity to actually take charge of his fate. Because I mean, he always has been. He's always been trying to like change it, trying to do something, but it seems always in half-hearted measure, because like some part of him knows that's not what he's meant to do, or that like the route that he was following, like he didn't want to be a bad guy necessarily. And so it was nice to finally see him go like, this is what I'm doing, and I'm doing it with 100% of who I am.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's really cool.
Exactly. Plus he had centuries in which to experience, you know, different things and understand and learn even more than he already did.
Yeah.
It's just the journey he goes on informs the destination he arrives at. And I'm like, wow, what a great idea. So that was nice. And it was, and it became a rewarding experience. Top marks for Loki season 2. Any predictions? Like, do you think we'll ever see the return of Loki? Because I know Tom Hiddleston's kind of treating this kind of like, this is the end of it. Because I mean, even then, like I saw somebody on TikTok of all places was did a comparison. Apparently, when Loki was hanging off the precipice, clinging to Odin before he would cast off into the abyss, before he found, you know, Thanos and whatnot, in the first Thor movie, he says like, I could have done this for you, for everyone. And he says the exact same thing to Owen Wilson and Sylvie, where he says for you, for everyone. It's like, it's the same line he says, but like I think in the first Thor movie he doesn't mean it. You know, he's like, or he thought he meant it, and in this one he does, and it's just kind of like there's very much a you know, kind of finality to Loki's character.
Yeah, like it's a moment for him where he recognizes that even if he thought maybe he did think he meant it before, and now he understands. He's like, no, this
is what I would have meant. Like this is what I really do mean. Yeah. And it's fun because you also get 2 different Loki finales, because like Loki's journey from, you know, Thor 1 to Thor Ragnarok to Infinity War, you know, that's a Loki who like, you know, got to go on one last adventure with his brother, who got to like destroy Asgard, see everything he's always like wanted kind of come to fruition and fail, and then ultimately die protecting his family. And then this Loki, who doesn't get that experience, gets a completely drastically different experience, and as a result of his decisions. I mean, like the last Loki tries to slit the throat of his aggressor. This is a Loki who tries to learn and grow. And so you get 2 completely different endings for 2 very similar Lokis.
Because it's both like, it shows maybe that, you know, they were incorrect, that like Lokis aren't always destined to fail. They're always destined to either die or, you know, like leave existence.
Yes, they have to get off the board.
In like in order to save those they care about, because like he does the same, he does it for Thor, and then he clearly cares about everyone who's in that room at the TVA, and even greater the caring for the entire multiverse, for like everyone. And so he does this act, and so like maybe that's really what Loki's true destiny is.
Yes, it's really nice. Great show.
And if I may say, because we really won't get too much into it, because I know we got a lot to talk about today. But the set design for the show still holds up for me. The very much the like the retro look to the TVA. It's just, it is consistent throughout. We see new areas of the TVA. It's just all like super consistent and super well developed, in my opinion. I always love the look of this show. So again, even at times when I felt like I was dragging a little bit, like I that really helped me, because I was like, but there's so much care, there's so much effort and just attention put into this show that like I have to watch it. I have to like, you know, So
no, a huge shout out to the set designer for that, and for their insistence on using props and physical, actual sets. And I'm sure that's the idea. That's why filmmaking is this art form. Is it's a marriage of different elements. We don't all rely on CG, and we don't always rely on practical effects. There's some kind of whatever works to tell the best story possible.
It's just so incredible. And like the costuming, great job.
Just the overall look of Loki was so unique and singular and and idyllic. Like, it was just an attractive version of what I come to think of when I think of like that era of style and design.
And
I hope Loki's coat is available somewhere for purchase.
Oh, for sure. But like also I loved even like the look of their like spacesuit kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The
multiversal
whatever they have to walk out there in, the bulkiness, the hugeness of it. Like I love that because of like how like in your dreams like the passage of time can feel, or trying to move. It felt like they were trying to move in a dream where it's like it's heavy and it's hard and it's cumbersome and you're being told to rush. Like and
it's so funny because like it's also it's like a direct contrast to the like nanotechification of the MCU. Like, there could have easily been a moment in this show where Loki comes back from his time jumpage and builds like a nanotech suit that's even more powerful and also looks exactly like an Iron Man suit, or looks like anything that everybody wears, where you push a button and their mask appears through pixelation. Easily could have been something that lame, not so as not to obscure the actor, you see. Ugh. And instead they just go for it. And I'm like, put someone in there, or put a stunt person in there and have a green screen in the faceplate so the person's face is projected in there. I don't know if they wore the suit or not. All I know is it looks like a suit. And it feels like a suit. And it tells the story you were explaining about, like, how it also, evokes that feeling of like walking through a dream. Like, that's really cool. And it just overall good show. I'm very proud. I'm very happy with it. It's just a good show overall. And so if you were skipping it, definitely don't. But I wonder, I don't think it will. I don't think it's going to affect much in the future of the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
But I also find that I don't want it to be. Like, I don't want it necessarily to like.
No, I like it as a secret thing that like just happens over there, and like it's like it's something for Loki, right? And like, I could imagine though if they were to do another Thor, it would be kind of cool for like Mobius to run into Thor and be like,
oh hey,
your brother's really cool,
and
like Thor being like, what, like right? He has some idea, but like not. I don't know. I kind of want that, and I kind of don't.
Right, exactly.
I do love the fact, the more I think about it, that Mobius is like a blonde dude.
Yeah, I was hoping that he was going to turn out to be like Eric Masterson. That was
my theory.
I know.
He kept wanting to not go and find out who he was.
I know. Yeah, that would have been really fun.
No.
Oh well, he still could be. But yeah, man. So moving, transitioning. Let's do a couple of super chats and talk to some folks in the audience. But Chocobo Kid, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone at ComicPop. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you too, Chocobo Kid. Thank you very much. I feel very thankful for finding you, and thankful for finding everything you do entertaining. I'm thankful for that as well.
Yeah, we're the most thankful for that.
Thank you very much for your support, man. Arduit says, also, I've been into the ComicPop community a little while now. I feel I finally have the hours in to take up an old crusade of said community, which is to say, when's the next Ultimate Spider-Man back issue sale? It's this Wednesday. It's up on Patreon now. You can watch it whenever you want to. Thank you very much. He also says, ComicPop Woo, hope your week is going well.
I think that was probably the first one.
I see. And
I don't know.
I saw your preview for this week's back issues. Pay me no more. Well, there you have it.
Well, thank you so much for all of your very kind super chats. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode.
Exactly. Tyler Kruzik, nothing to say. Big fan. You guys got me into comics. Hope this helps. It does indeed. But most importantly, you got into comics because of us, which really means a lot to us.
That's the true thing.
Thank you so much for supporting us, and also for supporting the comic industry.
Heck yeah.
Oh, and popping in quick to say hi. I love you guys. I catch this on the replay tomorrow.
Nice.
Hoping to see some more Daredevil on the couch soon. I don't have any plans for it very soon, but I definitely want to bring the old Hornhead back to the show very shortly. So thank you very much.
And hello, Owen.
Yeah, hey, what's up?
We're talking to you from the past.
Yeah, you're here, but we're here too. Hulkzilla, thank you for your support. I've been watching and rewatching the ComicPop videos each time I'm cooking or cackling from the jokes and tangents, wishing the crew all the best. Well, we'll make sure to extend your best to the rest of the crew. I'm glad that our shorts and our tangents and our jokes and our just repertoire entertains you and brings you joy.
Heck yeah.
Thank you for your support. MMM says, good evening, guys. Are you planning on doing another Krakoan era book on the couch? I'd personally love to see Tiffany host Axe Judgment Day. I think Axe Judgment Day would do pretty well. I'm hoping that the plan is we'll go Trial of Magneto / the first, what the hell was that? Hellfire Gala. Get that out of the way. Then do...
It's not the first Hellfire Gala.
Sure it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You're right.
Then
how many Hellfire Galas have we had?
3.
Yeah.
And then we do I guess, what is it? That one. Axe or Inferno? Okay, so Inferno, that one. Then Axe.
That's Inferno and 10 Lives, 10 Deaths.
Well, yeah. No, so Inferno, 10 Lives. We have all these trades. We have all these hardcovers. I'm really looking forward to seeing those episodes because I think they do well, and I think people would enjoy them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and then we'll do Axe.
And then Axe, and then Sinister.
Yeah.
Which you'll enjoy. Bryce Harriet, hi guys. Haven't seen the movie yet, but for comics, I wasn't sure how to feel initially. Villani writes a damn good version of Kamala. No notes. She also co-writes that book as well, but I'm glad. But if you ever see her on the red carpet or in interviews or just talking in general about the comic books, you can tell like she has a real love for it and a genuine interest in that whole space. And so I'm glad that she's taking kind of like a kind of stewardship of the character. And so we'll talk more about her involvement directly in a few minutes. Cat Loyal Fan for Treats, love the Yggdrasil-ification of the multiverse. It's funny. The Spider-Verse did it too. If you remember when we saw the multiverse line at the TVA in season 1, it's going like this. If you look at the multiverse map in Across the Spider-Verse, it's flipped. So it does look more like a tree. So maybe Into the Spider-Verse takes place after this show. I don't expect there to be any cohesion or any kind of like work between Sony and Marvel when it comes to like how the multiverse works, especially because Miguel's canon event nonsense flies right in the face of everybody else. And there's no way. I can't even imagine Loki being like, no, but only for the Spider-Persons. It's going to be like this. Like Uncle Ben has to die. And so do captains for some reason.
Right.
No. And Girk Pectus, how did you like the Fall of House of Usher's character Reaper? I loved her.
Yeah.
She's great.
She's incredible.
There was no bad acting in that show. So
no. Someone mentioned some place. I was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah.
Her name's Verna. Yeah, Verna.
Right.
And that's an anagram for Raven.
I
was like,
derp.
Freaking, and she's an incredible actress.
She is, yeah. She's
that's
Carla
the thing.
Gugino.
Gugino, whatever. She's incredible.
Yeah.
But then again, Mike Flanagan just has really good taste.
He does.
Whoever his casting director is, just impeccable taste.
Yeah.
Impeccable taste.
And he happens to like working with the same people.
Right. And listen, I'm down for it.
Oh no, it's true.
It's typically the main character is someone that he doesn't seem to reuse.
That's a good idea.
I kind of love.
Yeah. Well, that way you're not like confused about what project
like the main character is like
someone else, someone new.
Like, yeah. Because it's like, man, the guy who played the priest in Midnight Mass, I would love to see him in like everything else in the world.
Yeah.
Just incredible actor.
He is.
And again, in Midnight Mass, the guy who played the sheriff, and then in Usher, the guy who played I can't remember which brother it was. I wanted him for Reed Richards for a little bit, for sure.
That would have been great.
He's a great actor.
I agree with you.
Anyway, get Mike Flanagan on a Marvel project. That's never going to happen.
No, it's not. Give him Doctor Strange after this.
Give him Doctor Strange. Give him Doctor Strange. Let him do it. Let him do a show, because that's clearly where it's at for him, right? Let him do a show.
Yeah, because Doctor Sleep isn't great.
Or DC. Have him do a Constantine show.
Oh, I mean,
or a Swamp Thing show.
Yeah.
Or a Justice League Dark show.
Right.
I don't care.
Yeah, just give him work, man. I just want to see that influence. Right. Moving on. Samuel Forrest, yay or nay for the Marvels? Yay overall. Abe Sapien, thank you for your support. Hey, Tiff and Sal just picked up Batman Beyond Neo Gothic. Are you guys aware that it's a secret legacy story to Constantine? No, I'm not.
I was not.
I don't recall that, but I do remember him cropping up or somebody talking about it. I didn't read it, so. But thanks for your very generous support.
Ever since I've seen Usher, I can't help but like bring it up every time we have a show.
No, it's true. Hey, don't forget if all of that's Usher is great.
I've got nowhere to talk about these things. So
that's right. Yeah,
it's here.
Yeah, I guess Tiffany's gonna need your own podcast. Bear Farmer watching 30 minutes behind. Loki's still the god of mischief. He blew up time. That's pretty mischievous. Felt like an endgame level send off for the character for me at least. They've already said out loud, the showrunners that he's the god of stories. and it also is shades of the comic book specifically that they're drawing from to tell this story.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not terribly mischievous to destroy all of time or all of the like timelines they come from. I guess it is mischievous of him to use to trick people or like but bad guys. I don't know. It's reaching. I think.
I'm just thinking now that this Loki, season 2 Loki, is unafraid of his failures.
That's right. Yeah.
Like
he's not afraid to fail.
Yeah, like when we see him working with Thanos, he's just like, yeah, I messed up, but like there's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
Like it's fight or flight here, everybody. Come on, what are you doing? And in this, he'll mess up and he's like, okay, now what are we gonna do?
Right.
Like
right.
how do I fix this? How are we gonna keep progressing? And I'm like, that's
really cool.
Awesome.
What a great development of the character. Samuel Force, where to start with Marvel Comics? In general, I mean, it really depends on what character you want to start with. That's really where I would go. Just pick your character and then check out where to start with that character, and then you expand from there. Because the Marvel universe is very interconnected. So like when you see your favorite character, the character you're interested in, interact with other characters, then you'll be able to go like, oh, well, I like his, if you start with Spider-Man, like most people do, you see his interactions with everybody. There's a Marvel team up series. There's multiple series where he teams up with different characters. So you see like him, teams up with Adam Warlock, teams up with Doctor Strange, the X-Men, the Defenders, like, Silver Surfer, like figure out what your favorite interaction is from there and then jump over there, like, oh, I really liked how Silver Surfer and Spider-Man interacted. I really liked the attitude that Silver Surfer had. Well, maybe I'll check out a Silver Surfer book as a result.
Additionally, like again, if it was Spider-Man, you could pick up something like Ultimate Spider-Man because it's a little more contained.
It is more contained.
That you'll get the information you need instead of having to worry about maybe a backlog of it. Otherwise, if you pick up a character that you're interested in who happens to have a couple of like original graphic novels, start there.
Yes,
for sure. Like if it was Doctor Strange, pick up the Oath because it's not a big commitment. You get a feel for that character,
and you get a self-contained story that doesn't like feel like it's going to go off the rails or spin out into a money sink.
Yeah.
Adam Thenhouse, I keep thinking of Wanda unmasking Reed and unmaking Reed in Multiverse Madness when everyone got all stringy. Yeah, that's right. You guys get stringy. Maybe she uses time to do it. I don't know. It's funny. I think that was more
pruning them.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
That'd be amazing if the technology that they use for those are actually based off of Wanda's
like hex magic or something, or she was approximating their technology and
something
ended up just pruning him. He's at the end of time.
I don't know, something there.
Yeah, Ray Farr, ComicPop Woo, Monica Rambeau is my first Captain Marvel in the comics. Thanks, Secret Wars. Can you recommend any great books that spotlight her? It's actually a trade paperback that you can pick up that is of Monica Rambeau's Captain Marvel series, or rather her like most notable appearances. It's I believe just called Captain Marvel Monica Rambeau. It's a trade paperback that came out I think around the time when she debuted on WandaVision. The cover I believe is of like a kind of like I want to say it was JR Jr., but I don't think that's true. But definitely check out that. It came out in 2019. It collects her first appearance, which is an Amazing Spider-Man annual, and then it collects like a bunch of her collections, like Marvel Team Up and Captain Marvel and Avengers Unplugged,
which is good because you'll get stuff from like the 60s, 70s, 80s,
you get a
90s.
Big smattering of her appearances, and then you can go pick up Next Wave and you can read like the most fun version of her. But yeah, that's why I go. And Arduit says, "Damn it, my life it will no longer be complete until Flanagan Hellblazer now." Thanks, Tiffany. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, man. So
talk about a few comics.
Let's do some comics. I read Batman 139. I broke my fast on Zdarsky Batman. This one, of course, is written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Jorge Jimenez, and it was awesome, but also vexing and confusing, like the entire Chip Zdarsky run on Batman so far. I will say this: this is if you've been waiting, you've been trying to outwait Gotham War, this is the one to jump on. As a result of Gotham War, blah, 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 who cares? But Batman's on the outs with everybody. And now Joker has...
for a change?
Yes, believe it or not. But now Joker has finally revealed himself. We're also retconning 3 Jokers out of continuity. So the Jeff Johns run... and that's my fan theory, but I believe that they are retconning out Jeff Johns' 3 Jokers book, because they keep referring to there being 3 Jokers, and all the citations, and I think it happens 2 or 3 times in this one issue, make you go back to Justice League number 50 from 2011. And that one is the first time they indicate there is a mystery about 3 Jokers. I think what they're doing is they're saying, well, 3 Jokers, A, wasn't as successful as we'd hoped, and B, wasn't as impactful as we'd imagined. And so since it's a Black Label book, C, we can then say, oh, well, it didn't happen, or it happened over there, but there are 3 Jokers in continuity, and here they are, and they're completely different. It's a completely different story.
Right.
So that's what we're doing, I think, with the continuity Batman. And so he's dealing with the fallout of the 3 Jokers. Maybe even one of those Jokers was the imposter Joker from the Joker series. This book is very careful not to kind of like make it so that you have to read that Joker series, which I skipped out on after a couple of issues. But yeah, so Batman faces the Joker, and it's a lot of like your greatest hits. Like, there's Joker. The second that, and it's funny, like I kind of noticed it and praised it when he was writing Daredevil. But I'm starting to see that Chip is like hitting the heights where he's like, all right, I love Tower of Babel. So what if Tower of Babel was perpetrated by a Batman robot? I loved the Frank Miller run, but what if the Frank Miller run had more like of this in it and made his run on it? Like I love, a lot of different eras of Daredevil. Let me hit those notes and then do my spin on it, but singing that song. It's like a cover band. So like Batman's facing the Joker for plot reasons and contrivances that Batman explains in his detective work. Batman needs to go find a doll maker. And I'm like, uh-oh. And so, yes, that's what happens. Batman ends up finding the Joker on a throne made of flaming dolls, like in The Killing Joke.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, so that's gonna happen every time. But yeah, Batman fights the Joker, and it's it's fun, but like Joker is looking to lure out Zur-En-Arrh because Zur-En-Arrh is obviously the big bad of the entire Batman Chip Zdarsky run, which I like genuinely couldn't care less about, but it's not so vexing that I don't want to know what happens. I'm just kind of like, well, it better land. If it lands, I'm going to be like, you guys definitely got to I'm going to have to go back and reread it. And I'm going to have to, and I'll be singing its praises to you folks, in the future. But if it doesn't land, we'll just quietly pretend it didn't happen.
Right. Okay. Awesome.
I also read Transformers 2.
You want me to go?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, sure.
Well, I read Transformers 2 from Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer. Sorry. Really quick. I have nothing really to say except that there was a beautiful moment that D-Dubs told me about on the floor of San Diego Comic-Con 2 years ago.
Okay.
Was it 2 years ago?
No,
it was last year. Yeah, last year. Like this past San Diego Comic-Con.
What are you talking about?
We're walking on the floor and he's telling me about this beautiful moment and that apparently it almost didn't happen. And so definitely pick up this issue if you haven't already. It's a beautiful moment that kind of like it crystallizes Optimus Prime's role as a protector of Earth in the first page.
Oh, cool.
And the rest of it's more Transformers gobbledygook. They're all talking about cliff jumpers and star screams and and just all that stuff. It's just and it's just very much action figures smashing against each other, but a lot of like prelude to it. I remember playing with my action figures. There was a lot of melodrama and story that led up to the big fight on like sand like piles and bathtubs.
100%.
And that's what this is. So it's like it feels it feels like it is D-Dubs' version of Transformers, but I almost wish it was just a solo independent series of D-Dubs making up robots. Like, it's cool that it's Transformers, but I feel the I can see the fences.
But that's for you. I mean, I wonder how like fans of the lore are liking it.
I wonder. Right? I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
But I think I would enjoy like a Murder Falcon more.
With robots.
With robots.
With other robots.
With different robots. Yeah. But it's still it's gorgeous looking and it's a lot of fun.
Right.
And I like his characterizations.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. What about you?
Just really quick, I'm going to try to speed through these because I know we're going to talk about this movie.
Yes.
X-Force number 46 came out. Ben Percy, Robert Gill. We wrapped up the Colossus plot.
What? It's over?
Yeah.
Is he free?
Yeah.
Yay.
Brother is dead.
His brother?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Mikhail is dead.
Good.
Colossus ripped his heart out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he feels bad, and
of course he does.
And everyone's kind of like, "Can we trust you? Like, what's going on here,
so
man?"
Yeah.
So looking forward to where that's going. There's a 47 is coming out, so we're putting this back in the box.
So they are really going to end up in the mansion at the end of all this.
Feels like this. I don't know.
They're just wrapping them all up. Tie up all up.
It feels like it. There is a really fantastic moment though, because obviously like X-Force kind of all pulls together. Sage and Domino had gone to see Strange. He helped to get them into like Mikhail's like void space essentially in order to find the rest of X-Force and possibly Colossus. So they free everyone. Everyone kind of get the band back together. It's that moment in the action movie where everybody steps up and oh my gosh, and almost feels like they're not gonna make it, and then Deadpool shows up. He's like, yep, I know I said I wasn't gonna help, but
I am.
But here I am anyway. And I went through the void at Strange's.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, and I pinched him on the butt as I went in.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? This is the
So would
first time I
yeah.
ever felt so connected to Deadpool. And he describes what that was like. He was like, you know, for someone who's a scholar, I didn't expect it to be so firm and amazing.
Right.
And then he proceeds to describe it, and I was like,
You're like, what is this for me?
You wrote this just for me, didn't you? Thank you.
He's like, you're welcome.
Even if you didn't, I'm gonna imagine that you did.
You're welcome, Tiffany.
Those 3 like panels.
Yeah.
Just
here's what Doctor Strange's butt feels
like. Like, excellent. Thank you. Just file that one away.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
yeah. I assume you also did any other X-Men books.
Yeah.
I know you did Gods.
Yeah. But I also did X-Men Red.
Ah, yes. How's that coming along?
Friggin' so good. Al Ewing.
Shocking.
Yildiray
Sinar. I'll take it.
Freaking so good.
Mm-hmm.
So good. This is like freaking man, Al Ewing.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Don't
here?
leave.
You just doing it all right. Like, he's bringing Apocalypse back, obviously, but he's also paying homage or like paying close attention to what came before. So Apocalypse is still doing magic.
Right.
And like, that's how he's going to lead us to victory.
Cool.
Here is via magic. And it's just some really amazing moments in this with him talking about his children, talking about why he named his horsemen after what he did. He's like, I named them after my children who I couldn't see any longer. And he's like, but I like, clearly they couldn't learn and they couldn't adapt. And so now I'm using something else. And he's using the 4 elements and so on and so forth. Right.
Cool.
He gives Death has joined the other side. So,
yes,
you know, like when he sees him there, Apocalypse was like, you're showing me you can learn that's good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, awesome. Right.
Yeah.
Key thing in this issue, folks, you know, the trigger to release Uranos.
Yes.
Storm destroys it.
Oh, so now Uranos can never be freed.
I don't know.
Or not.
I mean, it could just be one of those things where they're going to do what I was hoping and just
put him away. Someone might want to do something with him.
Want to do something with that later on. Maybe during some big, ridiculous event down the road, they'll be like, okay, mic drop. They're like, what is happening? They're like, oh, right. Remember, issue 17 of X-Men Red or whatever. So, yeah, this is just a very strong issue. It really just shows you the relationship that Apocalypse now has with Genesis, and it's mentioned that she was always like this, even in Paradise. Like, she was kind of always like this. So
cool.
I feel like they are going to set things up for pieces to begin falling back into more of a shape or a form that people who didn't like the Krakoan era or are used to the times before that, it feels like they're going to start trying to shape it so that it looks more like that.
Yeah.
But it'll be forever changed.
Right.
So we'll see. Regardless, loving this.
Sure.
Love this issue.
Loving the fall.
Loving Storm and Apocalypse working together. I really like that synergy there. Obviously, she's had history with him in various versions of things. So kind of fun to see them on the same side. Also, Nova is still alive.
Oh, good.
Well,
good. He should be.
Like the Nova Force is keeping him alive against the venom that's within him.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see. Well, maybe Apocalypse can fix him.
Yeah, probably.
He can show.
Well, we'll see. I mean, why would he care?
Right. So it's also Vulcan is being utilized. They released Vulcan where he's been trapped under Arakko.
Right.
And you know what? If you were tired of Krakoa not being the island that walked like a man, and you really wanted to see something like that, then this is probably the issue you should have read.
Oh,
it's not quite Krakoa; it's a different name.
Right.
But
you get it.
But yeah,
sweet.
It's great looking.
Yeah.
This is the book again for people who are like, I don't really care about the stuff that's going on in terms of on Earth. This is it's very much tied to the fall of X, but it's doing its thing up there, and it all makes sense for the history of Arakko and Mars. So
sweet.
I love it. I could also talk really quickly if you want about Uncanny Spider-Man.
Why not? I leafed through it.
Yeah, there's a lot happening, and I feel like I need another read through of what's going on by the end of it.
Salisbury or Javier Pina.
Yeah, book looks incredible. I really like the relationship between Silver Sable and Kurt.
Yes.
Feeling very Spider-Man Black Cat.
Mm-hmm,
Except,
mm-hmm.
you know, supposedly she takes care of her people. She takes care of some Kari, right? But
Right.
like, and she has her own code that she lives by. So she's not like stealing from people, but she's also like a mercenary.
Yeah. Well, she's on the opposite side of what Kurt is fighting.
Yeah,
for,
but
I'm
just
Spider-Man and Black Cat.
Yeah, I'm just getting those vibes.
Mm-hmm.
They clearly love each other's company. They had this moment where
they're banging.
them. Yeah. And she explains that, you know, when she in her contract, like when she is off the clock, she's off the clock.
Exactly.
So
I'm not in the mutant hunting
Yeah.
mode right now.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna bang you, and then eventually I will find you when I'm on the clock, and then it'll be over, right?
Exactly.
That kind of thing. But I really appreciated the fact that they have this moment where he says something and he's like quoting a song line,
Mhm.
and then she
Finishes it.
she answers back, and he answers, and then the two of them just sing the song together, like they
Mhm.
rock out to it.
That's
essentially
cool. Yeah.
And the idea here is that Lila Cheney has written some music.
Okay.
We get an info page with the lyrics of
Great.
that song.
Thanks.
So you can enjoy that. I appreciate Spurrier's like, I didn't have an
cute.
infographic.
Yeah,
so
right.
It is,
so I'll put this
whatever.
in there. Why not?
But yeah, there's a lot going on here. It involves Dagger and Feral, which I thought was
Cloak
really
as well.
funny. Yeah, and Cloak
Oh, and
as
Feral,
well.
yeah, because we talked about Feral on a show we can't talk about right now.
We did for sure.
And you were like, I know Feral now.
Yeah, and Warlock and all of that. So there's a lot happening here. Like I said, I may want another chance at rereading the end of this. But
it's like a new status quo for Tombs. We'll see.
Yeah. I don't know, but like
Sweet.
good stuff. But like for me, like it's the relationship between Kurt and
Sable.
That I'm like I'm eating it up, and I know it can't last.
No,
but like
maybe it will though. Maybe they don't.
I
mean, they don't have to like put everything in the ground after the fall.
She calls him a himbo.
I know. Yeah. She also describes his fur and how it feels. So if you're ever wondering,
I just love it. She's very textural.
Yes.
Yes, she's that's like a big turn on for her.
Yeah. Not unlike Abigail Brand.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
I read Punisher 1 from David Pepose and Dave Wachter.
Yeah.
And you know, it's the new Punisher. It's another version of him.
It's a new guy,
It's a new guy. And I will say that
what happened to his family?
They were killed, of course. Like they were blown up in a fire bombing of his house.
Okay.
It's fun. Like I think if the message or the mantra or the like marching orders are give me a new Punisher, like make it a different Punisher, then it succeeds. Mm-hmm. It succeeds in giving you a different Punisher without stepping on the toes of Frank Castle, without like saying Frank Castle doesn't work. It's just a completely different Punisher for a different kind of book.
Okay.
Pepose is very steeped in continuity and lore and character, and whereas Punisher could be set in any universe, it could be its own universe. Mm-hmm. This is a Punisher that is firmly established in the Marvel universe and manages to do, something a little different, very different from what Frank Castle is. He's a Punisher incidentally, and it's an accident that he ends up being nicknamed the Punisher. And his war / mission is very unique to himself, though it also like manages to earn at least its name for the foreseeable future. It also allows for this could exist in a world with another Punisher book that stars Frank Castle. This could exist in a world where after it's over, they do another book with Frank Castle. Like it could work alongside him, or it could work in a vacuum. It works either way. But if you're a Marvel fan and you're looking for like a different kind of Punisher, and you're looking for a new character, you can't go wrong with this issue. It's a fun issue, and it's got good art, and also it's steeped in continuity in Marvel, and has him take out a prominent Marvel villain. So like in his first issue, he does kill a prominent Marvel villain, at least for now.
I noticed that in the description of it, it said that it was like John Wick meets The Fugitive. Is that true?
It's similar to that, but with a lot more junk in it. It were, I wish it were that trimmed down and simple.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a fair pitch, though I don't know if I feel that. And I think the art's really good too.
Okay.
I also read Birds of Prey #3.
Excellent.
I'm not going to get into the details, but let's just say
great. It's so eye catching.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's also like supposed to feel like a kind of grindhousey type of book. The ladies invade Themyscira, and Green Arrow fights Wonder Woman. You need to read this issue if you haven't already. It's a really fun book, and it also kind of like puts Diana in a similar position to where she is in the Tom King run, though it doesn't direct. I mean, maybe it does directly connect to it, but it's you know, it allows you to go like, oh, cool, like Wonder Woman's kind of scary and a badass, and like, you know, it reminds me very much of that issue of Human Target where you know, Batman is on the cover, but his silhouette's on the cover, and like they're just running from him, and he never appears in the whole issue.
Yeah.
This is like, we need to get to Themyscira, get what we need before Diana finds out we're here. And
so it's like a heist.
Yeah, it is a heist. It's
son of a bitch. I'm in.
Exactly. Definitely worth picking up. Birds of Prey is a great book, and it's a quiet, fantastic series from DC.
Excellent.
Well done, Kelly Thompson. What about Gods?
I read Gods #2.
Gods #2. I looked at Gods, but I didn't read it.
That's fine.
But it does look great.
It looks incredible. Jonathan Hickman, Valeria Skeety on art. I freaking look. It's a beautiful looking book.
Yes, it is.
It's a beautiful, beautiful looking book, and that's not the end of it for me. It's just I really like this book. It is Hetty Hickman at its best.
Yes.
You know, he can't help himself. We're dealing with magic, and so there's all sorts of concepts going around, and like there's definitely. This is one of those books I'm gonna need another pass at.
Yes.
To unpack everything, but that doesn't mean I can't grasp what's happening. So don't feel like if you're like not following all of the
intricacies
of the way in which these orders are laid out and what does what. Don't worry about it. I have a feeling we'll all unfold it by the end if we're meant to, or if you want to do a deep dive later on, you could do that too.
Yeah.
There's definitely a couple moments in here that I feel like would make Ethan peel his skin off. But hey, that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay.
That's what magic is meant to do.
It's the mention of science, or what we assume is science. I was like, oh,
we're gonna do this.
Oh, Ethan's gonna get mad, but I love it. I'm here for it. But like what I liked about this issue in particular was you and I were talking about this earlier. You're talking about how, like, you know, Wynn it feels clearly as though he was meant to be Doctor Strange, but the more I see Strange and he like interacting with one another, the more I really appreciate Wynn being there, because it's like a gentle reminder for Doctor Strange what it must be like to deal with Doctor Strange.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like Doctor Strange is arrogant and egotistical and always has to be, you know, right, or, you know, just knows what's happening. And Wynn is like that for him. And I'm like, Doc, I know you won't learn this lesson.
Right.
But it's right here in front of you.
Yeah, but you have a crack mirror version of yourself giving you a life lesson right here.
Yes.
It's gorgeous. And I should say it's also only $5. And when I say only, I mean, like, that's how much comic books are, unfortunately.
Yeah, but it is like 30 pages.
But it's 28 pages, I believe.
Yeah,
and
28.
But like, my point is that you get a lot of comic for it. Like, it is very dense.
It is dense.
You will get at least 2 or 3 reads out of this.
For sure. And I want to say one other thing. In the middle of like this like dense magic based book, Hickman still manages to drive home like this human element. We run into a new character, Mia, and she has a conversation in this book that I felt so very connected to. And I think there's something in there that a lot of us can connect to in terms of, you know, how she has approached her life and all of that. And like I was shocked to have this kind of just crop up in the middle of this, you know, again, like magic based, higher thinking, whatever type of story. It's like, bam.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And it just goes to show you that like Hickman can ground a book.
Right.
And honestly, it helps, I think, to create the separation between the human world and this magical world.
Yeah.
So good.
Of course, I didn't read this particular print, but I should remind you that if you wanted to check out all of Last Ronin, there's a reprint that came out this past week, and it collects all 5, I believe, issues of the series from Peter Laird, Tom Waltz, and Ben Bishop, and Asao Escorza, and Isaac Escorza. This is a really fun Cracked Mirror Dark Knight Returns-ification of the Turtles. Definitely, if you haven't already checked it out, you should. And it's another bite at the apple.
Excellent.
So give that a look as well.
Great.
I also read Shazam. It's gorgeous looking. Pick it up if you have ever been interested in Shazam. This is the time to read Shazam. But yeah, so let's talk about the Marvels, shall we?
Yeah.
So from here on out, we're not going to talk about spoilers just yet. We're going to ease into spoilers, but we will warn you when spoilers are abound. Yep. So make sure to
this is the spoiler-free section.
Spoiler-free. How do we feel about
hold
it?
your spoilers, folks.
Right? If you are
hold the gates.
You're on your way to go see that movie, or you're not sure if you want to go see it, should I check it out, and should I be like not spoiled for it? Here's what we'll say. First of all, if you decide to go see it, regardless of opinions about the movie, there is a post-credit scene, rather a mid-credit scene. There is no post-credit
A
scene.
mid-roll.
There is a mid-roll credits sequence.
And
that
an
you,
end credits sound effect.
Yes,
But it has
so-
nothing to do with anything. It's just a callback to something earlier
something
in
that
the
happened
movie.
in the movie. It's like Iron Man clanging at the end of Endgame. If you don't care about that kind of thing, if you're just looking, if you are looking to leave, you can watch the mid-roll scene and then go home. You
Yep.
don't have to stay for the whole credits.
That is correct.
You will not get anything else. And I will say that apropos of that post-credit scene that we did get, I think at the end of the movie sequence, there's a little like almost PS at the end of the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
That I think was going to be the post-credit scene, but I think because of the delay in production due to the actor strike and COVID and crap, that we got an extra bonus sequence that they were like, we need to tie it in with something bigger. So we have a little end of the movie sequence, which is fun, and I'm hyped for it. And then we got another sequence, which is part of the bigger story going on, and I'm hyped and I'm here for it. It was two sequences that I wanted and that I was thrilled to get.
Yep.
And they are just part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe saga, and I'm here for both of them. Dope. We'll talk more about them in spoilers and specific.
Sure.
But as far as how we felt about the movie, I'll start first just because I want to be the first voice to say I liked it.
Okay.
How'd you feel about it?
I loved it.
Right.
I loved it. I thought it was fun, exciting. I think I said this on Twitter. It's just an action-packed, fun sci-fi movie.
Right. Not light sci-fi. Don't get into that. You're not seeing Dune.
Sci fantasy.
Yes, like more Star
Warsy.
Warsy.
Yeah, for sure. But just action, fun, had a great time.
Yes,
would
so
like
did
to
I.
see it again.
Right, I'm happy to see it again. Of course, The Marvels, directed by Nia DaCosta and starring Brie Larson, Tiana Paris, and Iman Vellani.
Yep.
Along with, of course, Samuel L. Jackson and company. But the reason to see the movie, because I mean, like, okay, there's a couple other things I should point out.
Oh, are we going spoiler?
No, not yet.
Still spoiler.
These are all things we can just talk about without having to worry about it. But I will mention that Darben Zawe Ashton. Is that who that was? The bad guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Darben,
Zawe Ashton, wasted on this movie. There's very little that she does that isn't couldn't be done by an evil robot or a star exploding. It's a bad guy that wants something that they need to stop her from getting.
Sure, but I mean, you say wasted, but you don't know.
No, not wasted. Don't go into this movie expecting to see the first most deep and exciting Marvel villain. This does nothing to change the oops, I dropped a quarter. This movie does nothing to change anyone's disparaging comments about Marvel not being able to have a strong villainous, co-lead.
Sure.
This villain is not bringing anything to the party.
No, you know what? I liked her for what this movie was.
Exactly.
And I don't know when we should get into that.
Yeah, the villain provides the conflict that the characters require in order to further the plot.
Yes.
The movie is really about the chemistry between the three leads.
Yes, which is what we have been talking about, that it was what you need to do is get back to character-driven movies.
Boom.
So if your problem with Ant-Man was the fact that it felt like Ant-Man took a backseat in his own damn movie to further the Kang plot.
Right. He did.
This is not with that. This movie is not that. This movie is this is a story about characters who deal with a bad guy. Cool.
Yeah. It is and I should say, Glenn Ross is a character study. The Godfather's a character study. There are a lot of movies that are character studies.
Yeah.
This is not a character study in the same way. It's not the same bracket. It is a fun movie that is worth seeing, that you can easily get tickets for, that you will enjoy the spectacle for. And it's a real shame that people aren't giving it a shot because, obviously both Photon and Ms. Marvel didn't get the higher profile exposure that Brie Larson's Captain Marvel did because those two didn't get a movie.
Right.
And it's a shame because they didn't get to do the press tour and they didn't get to really promote their own, movie.
Well, and there's another part of that they couldn't do it.
That they were just barred from doing it. But I should say that it is a welcome addition, and I think it is only made stronger by their, presence, and they carry the movie. I think that obviously there is one lone star of this movie, and it is the cat. No, I'm kidding. It's Iman Vellani's Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, she's incredible.
She's incredible. And all I could think about was the fact that there's this show Ms. Marvel that I'm sure few people saw.
Yeah.
In comparison to the normal, like, I'm sure fewer people saw that than Quantumania.
Mm-hmm.
But they utilize the like world that they built from the show without you needing to really know anything about the show.
Yeah.
And put it on display in a way where you're like, if I never saw the show, I would still love the same characters.
Mm-hmm.
with a notable exception being Ms. Marvel's tech savvy friend, who is relegated to, I think, a photograph on the wall. But you know what? There's no time for that because the movie's only an hour and 45 minutes. And I'm sure the movie was 2 hours. I'm sure the movie was 2 hours and 25 minutes. And they cut out like a friggin' hour because no one's going to sit here and watch a friggin' 2.5 hour long Marvels movie.
Right.
Like that's just the way it works right now. And unfortunately, that didn't do much to help this movie's performances. And I should say, you know, this movie has an uphill battle to go because people aren't seeing it. And I think that this movie isn't being seen for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is the fact that people are kind of sick of being told they have to go see Marvel movies and being exposed to a dearth of Marvel movies that are not very good.
Yeah,
Marvel movies / shows that are just, you know, after if you sat through all of Moon Knight and all of Secret Invasion, I would understand people going like, I'm not going to see the Marvels.
Right.
Why would I go see?
And if you were like, I'm gonna go see Ant-Man because you love Paul Rudd, you're like,
oh man, that was a shame. I mean, like he's funny in it, he's good in it, you know, but like but
it's just not there.
It doesn't. This movie does not overstay its welcome. It just it gets in, it gets out, and it does what it's supposed to do. It's just so anyway. The standouts are them, but Ms. Marvel gets to shine.
Oh, absolutely. And part of me feels like the other two wanted it that way.
I think so.
For sure.
I think so too.
She's a young actress. They're like,
but never
give her those moments.
Right, but never does the movie get out of the way.
No.
And try to put her onto a pedestal.
No. Everybody has a moment. It's just really well balanced. And she's just charming AF.
Yeah, that's right. She's just a delight to watch. She is like the Spider-Man of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Since Marvel can't use Spider-Man to the degree that they probably would want to, they should not go all in on Ms. Marvel, but they should utilize her as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Because she is a delight and she is a great ambassador to the franchise.
And she clearly has a love of the material.
Yes.
You know, and that's great for everyone.
Yeah.
Like that's great for comic book readers that you have someone in Hollywood who's like, no, I like these things.
Yeah. And I should say, the Monica Rambeau character, you know, she was relegated to like a fifth wheel in the WandaVision series in which she debuted. In this, she is essentially being given like the first shot. Like this is the first time most people are going to meet Monica Rambeau.
Oh, for sure.
And I loved her. I think she was great. And I think she added a great element to it. You know, this movie does a nice job of being a sequel to Captain Marvel because it is.
Yeah.
You know, it pays off.
It is, but it has the heavy notes of that movie, but it really feels tonally like a sequel to Ms. Marvel.
Yes.
It's more fun.
Yes. It takes everything that works about Ms. Marvel and everything you remember about Captain Marvel and makes a movie out of it.
Yeah.
And also Monica is in the movie.
Yeah.
But I also think that it learned a lot of lessons. And that's a real problem with why no one's supposed to see this movie. Because I think it learned a lot of lessons from the first Captain Marvel movie. Because while Captain Marvel, the movie, we did enjoy that movie.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, a couple of the issues that arose from it were unfortunately, you know, just the nature of the character of Captain Marvel and the way that it was approached and the way that like the noise kind of like encapsulated it. Like I could understand. I will play devil's advocate a little bit. I can understand that people may have gotten the impression that like Brie Larson's Captain Marvel comes off a little caustic in the first movie, right? Like she doesn't show a lot of vulnerability. She doesn't show a lot of like, you know. And I think that she had to play an uphill battle,
right?
Because
like, do you mean that a character based off of a series of comics where they can't quite figure out what to do with that character? They had a hard time figuring out what to do with that character.
Yeah, big time.
Oh, like, weird.
Yeah, but also, you know, like, and she had a lot of like there were a lot of
There
issues,
was
like
a lot.
her dismal interview that was taken completely and ran with. There's also the Kevin Feige of it, where he's like, "Oh no, shut up, haters! She's the most powerful member of the Marvel universe." Like, power scalers are not. They don't want to hear that, especially because you nerfed the Hulk. Like, why? No one wants to hear that. So, like,
he doesn't care.
Well, he doesn't understand that. Like,
when
it's all
I go
part.
home to my $1.7 million home.
Yeah, I don't need to think. No, more like 4.7.
Sorry, my $4.7 million home. Like,
I don't think about like who could win in a fight, Captain Marvel or the Hulk.
And I don't worry too much about power scalers.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. But like, I think that also polluted the conversation, because it was like, oh, it automatically made people like angry about it. But all that to say, Captain Marvel has more vulnerability. She has more like to lose. She has more at stake. She's more invested in this story, and she has more of a journey and an uphill battle to go through.
Exactly. And there's an amazing opportunity for Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel to learn from one another in this, and it happens in a really natural way.
It does, and in a very like fun to watch kind of way, the way that you want to see like an Avengers type movie. Like, wouldn't it have been amazing? It was really fun to see all these, like in the way Thor Ragnarok worked, where we got to see Valkyrie and Thor and Hulk all play off each other and add to the mythology and play with the established world that we've been in now and go with it. That was really nice, and I really enjoyed that. But yeah, so and Nick Fury is using, and Samuel L. Jackson is portraying the like 10th version of Nick Fury in this movie.
Whatever. He was I liked him a lot because he reminded me more of Phase 1.
Yes.
Nick.
Yes.
Like, well, sort of. He's a little less serious, but he's just, there's more of a joy to his job. Like, I feel like he hasn't been allowed to feel that.
Well, especially given his especially given the like the last entry for Nick Fury. Like the Secret Invasion of it, that show sucked hard, and it was a misery fest for him. I don't know how he enjoyed or didn't enjoy making that show, but Nick Fury was just like unhappy throughout the show. Like, he didn't get to do the joy of like being in a like next, in the next section of his of his journey. But yeah. So getting into spoiler territory.
Yeah, so if you have not seen the movie and you would like to see the movie and remain spoiler free,
just add us to your watch later list.
Please watch us later on. Check this out. Enjoy finding out if we all agreed or disagreed or whatever on the movie.
We'll give them some time.
Now is your opportunity to exit the chat. Don't put spoilers in the chat yet, guys.
Yeah, please.
Hang on. We're gonna do some super chats and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, Samuel Force says, where are gonna get comics? Amazon? Any apps? Honestly, the way to get them right now digitally, the best way to get them is through Comixology, which is of course a subsidiary of Amazon.
Yeah.
You could also get them a little later than usual, about three months before or after they release.
I have a thing.
Oh, please.
If you're mentioning Amazon, and you already have Amazon Prime, go and check out the Kindle library, because I believe you have at least 1 or 2 like freebie loaner things that you can do, and they have graphic novels in there too. And so if you want to try out a book, that's a great way to do it for nothing.
That's right. But yeah, you can also subscribe to Marvel Unlimited or DC Universe Infinite. Those are 2 subscription services that you can use, or you can go to your local comic book store by simply going to, I believe it's mycomicshoplocator.com or something like that. But just type in comic shops near me into Google Maps, and you will be taken to your local comic book store. Daniel Ryan, hey, sorry if this is random. Weird, it's not showing. Oh, there we go.
Hey,
what are your thoughts on Batman the Dark Prince Charming? I love the watercolor style artwork and just want your input. I also love the art style, but I'm not there for it. I didn't read all of it, but I read some. I leafed through it and I was like, this is not.
That's literally a book that I keep picking up when we're out at places, and it sounds like we have it already.
Yeah,
so
we have.
Something about it that's attracting
2 copies
me to it.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous looking book. Joanne Fincher, have they ever tried to open up the school to non-mutants? Spider-Man taught there after Wolverine died, and that was kind of like that.
Amazing to be a non-mutant teacher at that school.
Right.
Like, hi, I'm here to teach you geography.
Yeah.
Because you have to know
because you have to know this crap. Actually, that's funny. I had a very similar situation to that when I was an educator.
I know.
But yeah, thank you for your support, by the way. It was very generous.
Spectacular. Like,
I agree.
I would read a 3-issue miniseries about.
Yeah. Well, originally, before Moira was a mutant, she was also a member of the school. Like, there were a lot of different members. I mean, and Carol Danvers actually used to be like an unofficial member of the X-Men as well. They've had members.
She gets a pass.
She gets a big pass because the Avengers were, like, hey, you got sexually assaulted.
Well, I was going to say
babies,
because Rogue, took her powers
Yes.
and left her in a coma. I think she gets to teach.
No, she didn't teach. She just fought with
she
them.
gets to go.
No,
okay.
they just embraced her the way that the Avengers just
right.
failed to do so. Lady Laserdiscs, hi Tiff and Sal, 94% complete with Spider-Man 2, and I can't wait to finish it on Friday. I've been enjoying all my comic book pickups as usual. Hope you two are doing well. Thanks always.
I think I'm like 30% through.
Yeah, I think I'm like 90% through.
Oh, I thought you 100%.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. You want the PS5 back?
Eventually.
Okay.
I'm in no rush to finish it.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah. I liked it fine.
I don't know how it ends.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Your boy Chips Ahoy. I thought Marvel's was really okay. Script was begging for another pass. Kamala and Monica had no dynamic. I think they could have had an interesting one. Actually, I think they did have a really nice dynamic.
We'll get into it though.
But we'll get into that. I will say that in terms of passes, the script seemed very. You know what? It was nice. It was very simple. Like it felt like a very simple script. Although there were at least 2 moments where I was like, what happened? Like, how'd that happen? And again, it was like, on one hand, I appreciate that you didn't explain it, but on the other hand, what? We'll talk more about that in a minute. But yeah, Girk Pectus, have you read Ennis' Secret Wars comic book? He had muscular Amazon women that you could think were there to die or look hot, but were unstoppable, terrifying, good subversion. No, I have not. I thought Marvel's was pretty fun until they got to the singing planet, and then it was horrible. I was so bored and annoyed, and even Kamala couldn't save. Disagree hardcore.
Yeah, couldn't disagree with you anymore, actually, right now.
Yeah. Matthew Macedo, thank you very much for your support, and thank you for your generosity. I really feel Monica got shafted in this movie. I feel Monica and Carol should have switched roles at the end, and Monica became Captain Marvel. Also, Fantastic Four 13 Dinosaur Doom cover. Yes, Alex Ross drew the D-Rex on that cover. And it's dope. We'll talk more about that at the end.
Okay.
But I disagree. I think that it was, there's a big moment in the post-credits that gives, that we'll talk about.
Yeah.
I think was I'm glad it was Monica's.
Yeah. By the way, everybody, I super appreciate everybody being really chill with spoilers.
Yeah.
Super chats. You guys are being awesome.
Yeah, you're being great. So yeah, let's talk about it.
So spoilers.
Yeah,
this is it. This is your last warning.
Last warning.
The
for
next
spoilers.
words out of our mouths may be a massive spoiler or not. Who knows? But it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah, so yeah. Overall, I just enjoyed it. There was no point, I keep seeing it, and people are really insistent that it's like, they're just like, no, you don't understand how bad it is. I need to explain it to you, because if you didn't understand how bad it was, then like you must be like on the tape.
If you have to explain to me that hard why it's bad, then I think you didn't. That's just a problem you have.
Yeah.
Like if that's really what it is, that you feel that passionately that like everyone has to agree with
just
you.
Put it in your live journal, pal.
Yeah, like it just feels less of an opinion and more like a way of life for you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's no helping.
Be more chill.
Right. But yeah, as far I'll address the controversy people are mentioning, the singing planet.
That's a controversy?
Yeah, people were like, well, at least 3 people in the chat were like, it was the point of no return. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. It was so cringe. I literally turned inside out. And I'm like, was it? Like, really? That at that point, you don't mind when Thor did a full split and held 2 like motorcycles at bay while also doing like, he was basically becoming the Mask in that movie, but this was the point of no return, where they go to an alien planet that doesn't matter, that's gonna die, and then one character sings. It's not like there was a huge musical number in which Kamala, Monica, and and Carol do a choreographed song and dance number. Even if they did, that happened in Clerks 2, right?
Also,
and that was also fun. But like what? Because they're dudes, it's cool.
It's not like there isn't a long history of science fiction shows having planets that have weird themes to them,
right?
Like actually, a gangster planet,
right? Or like there is a long history of like sci-fi / fantasy entertainment having musical numbers in them. Like the point of like I stopped watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer because of the musical episode. It was just so cringe that I just stopped watching it entirely. It was just the worst thing I've ever seen. Like, come on. It was so short.
It was so
How
short.
could you possibly care
And
that
it didn't
much?
come back again.
Right, it didn't come back again. We didn't overdo it. We were in, we're out, and we moved on. There was actually a funny moment that was clearly as a result of editing, but like I liked it as a storytelling device where both Monica has 2 drinks. And then at the end of the song, they're both empty.
Yeah.
And I want to believe that she just drank them herself.
Yeah. She was
just because she was like, because there's also characters in the movie who are like, this sucks. Like, they're there for you, man. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Also, Peacemaker's literally Peacemaker opened. Thank you very much, Patty, for like Peacemaker opens with a musical number the entire show, every single episode, and
John
no one skipped
Cena.
it. Right? He's the manliest man in the world. And it's totally cool. No, it has nothing to do with being masculine. It's just cringe, okay? It's just when Marvel does it, it's cringe. And when DC does it, it's baller.
It's just, you know what it is? It's weird because it's just such a blip in the movie.
It's a moment that I almost, that might not have made it in the review.
And then like within like 5 to 10 minutes after that, there's a big fight.
Right. And then everyone dies. Like, well, what do you, like, who cares? And that's the problem is like, you got to cut through all that noise in order to get to like an actual like thing you're watching. You know, my egregious part was I couldn't for the life of me remember why the Saber ship needed to be evacuated. Like I'm watching the same movie you are, and I'm like, there's a fire thing, and I'm like, what? And then it turns out it's because of the sun and the jump point.
Yeah, I knew it was because of the jump point, and admittedly, we saw it in our Dolby theater, and I think our Dolby theater isn't quite as well calibrated as it used to be.
You know,
because I've noted that
our theater kind of sucks.
It does, but like I noted that sometimes like the dialogue just didn't feel like it was mixed properly.
Yeah,
there was also like a guy like making all kinds of noises nearby.
Yeah, there was one dude that just went. He was that dude. No, yeah, I won't.
No, it's fine. Like,
he was
just
totally,
like, no, but it was just fine. Like but like I felt like that was less a fault of the movie and more a fault of we've had similar experiences there. Like I feel like Venom 2 I think had a similar issue.
Venom 2, yeah, it was impossible. Like it was Venom 2 was just too loud.
It was and it was
badly mixed. I couldn't hear dialogue.
But I think that had to do with our theater experience. So like I think some of the dialogue lines got dropped a little bit. But regardless, I did figure that out while we were watching. I was like, it's clear. That
I was really worried, by the way. Somebody mentioned the jump point technology that's like a carryover from like, it was in Guardians. It was in, I think it was established in either Guardians 2. Yeah, Guardians 2 it's established. And then it's like used in Infinity War and Endgame. I was really worried they were going to break it. When like the thing breaks, I was like, oh, Jesus. Right. Like this, because one major criticism I have with the MCU is that like they keep breaking shit and taking it away.
Yeah.
Like S.H.I.E.L.D. or Hydra or like certain technologies or certain characters. They're just like, instead of putting it over there and just saving it for a rainy day, we have to kill it. Got to kill it, make it never happen. Villains. And I was really worried that the jump point was going to be one of those things. They're like, it's too unbelievable that they could jump point for WWE. Like, what are you doing? No, but it was just a MacGuffin. But yeah, it was nice. So yeah. So that was one of my criticisms. I was like, what the hell? Like, and then I'm like, this is our B plot. This is our like, we need to deal with them.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the people who were working on the satellite were Asgardians. That's why that guy was like $300 or 300 years old.
Like so much percent.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was like, oh, duh. Because they're spacefaring people, like they know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. That was a great moment though.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I'm 325 years old. Oh, you're the same age.
Yeah,
so funny.
Huge shout out to the rest of the cast from the Ms. Marvel show.
Yes,
her family.
I think the dad got recast.
No,
I think he did.
No, I think it's the same guy.
I'd heard that there was some controversy with like the dad from the season of Ms. Marvel. You have to correct me in the chat.
I don't know, but her mom is incredible.
Oh no, she's wonderful. Yeah,
Zenobia.
Yeah, Shroff.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Yep.
Sagar Shaikh. I apologize literally to everybody because I'm just really bad at pronouncing names. They're just like her brother, incredible.
Yep.
So incredible.
Yeah.
No, it is the same dude. Thank you.
Okay, great. It is. Thank you.
I'm pretty sure it's the same guy.
Damn it, Hassan. He told me that the other guy got whatever. Anyway,
no, but
moving on.
He's great.
He's great. No, everybody was great and delightful.
I really loved giving Fury a foil like that.
Yeah.
Like throwing him into like, you have to deal with a family now. Like now you're not just dealing with Avengers.
Right.
Or like Spider-Man.
Which he doesn't even meet. He's never met Spider-Man.
But like but you know, regardless, but
Yeah.
like, but you have to deal with her family,
Yes.
and like her safety is important to them,
Right.
Like they're gonna take you to task. Also, you're in space with them.
Yeah.
You know, just I really like that dynamic of keeping them in. Clearly, you know, they recognize the strength of their casting,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, they didn't have a lot to do,
Right.
but what they did have to do, they kind of stole the show at times.
They did. Yeah, no, I loved it. You really liked Fury's bit of business that he had.
Yeah,
throughout
okay,
the
so
show.
like I am convinced, and maybe there's something about it, and I really hope there's some sort of behind the scenes. I am convinced that Samuel L. Jackson was like, if we're gonna have cats on set, I will be holding one every time.
Yes.
Like if there is
if I see a cat, I need to be able to hold it.
I'm holding the cat. That's happening.
Yes.
Right? Because there is a moment near the final encounter.
Yeah.
Where, you know, her family is going like, hey, like, we know you have to go do this. Is really powerful moment between Kamala and her mother. You know, if you had watched the show, you know, like the history there, but even if you didn't, you feel this, like her letting her daughter go, her letting her daughter grow up and knowing the role that she has. Freaking amazing. Right.
Yeah.
And in the background, all I can see is Nick Fury holding a kitten.
Yeah.
And just like petting it.
Right.
And I'm like, what are you doing, Sam?
Right. He's like, I checked out. I'm sorry.
I am here for these cats. And I love it. I love that element of Nick Fury's character that he's like, and I love cats.
Right. And if there's
Even
gonna
if
be
they're
kittens,
not
I want
cats,
to.
like, I don't care.
Right. And if they're kittens, I'm gonna want to hold one.
Yeah. Like, can we? I'm thinking in this scene we're gonna need at least 2 kittens.
Right. And they're like,
and Nick Fury has to be holding.
Right. And
one.
you can imagine them being like, Nick, Sam. Most of them are gonna be CG cats. Like
Yeah.
we're not gonna. They're not.
But
gonna be
I'm
on
feeling
set.
like on set.
Well,
Like,
I'm not really gonna be in the scene unless there's a real kitten in my hands at all times.
and I feel like that's the only way
could
I
make
can
a
get into
few.
character.
All right, we can get a couple on. But delightful, that whole sequence. So now you can talk about the Flurkin sequence, which I was like, once they establish it in the fight scene at Kamala's house, you know, that Flurkins can eat people and then regurgitate them,
and they're fine.
And then like the setup of like
of
Goose being pregnant.
Yep.
And tribbling the satellite.
Yeah, and I was like, I had missed any sort of information that there was going to be kittens in this.
Yeah.
Like I saw one trailer. I don't remember that sequence. So we're watching this. I'm like, oh my God, that's going to be the post-credit scene.
Right.
Is that she had kittens.
Right.
I'm so excited for this.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie's like leading up. And then I'm like, oh my God, is this happening?
Mm-hmm.
Is this happening? So when they get back, and the plan is that they have to get everyone off the ship. You know, they have X amount of life pods.
Right.
Essentially, it's like the Titanic.
Yep.
How are we going to do this?
Like, what did you do? But
I think it's just that some of
there was a broken thing,
yes.
or whatever.
And you know, Ms. Marvel or Captain Marvel shows up. She sees one of the kittens eat a person, and she's like trying to discipline them to make them like let him go. Come on.
Yeah.
And Nick's like, what are you doing?
Right.
Explains the plan, and she's like, so you're hurting cats?
Yeah.
That whole thing, like that. The plan is the kittens are going to go and consume people
because we can fit more cats.
You can fit more kittens in an escape pod than you can people.
Yeah.
Brilliant plan, by the way.
I know, I
Brilliant
loved
use
it.
of the Flurkins. But then to literally play Memory from Cats.
Yeah.
Like I think I laughed the loudest in the theater. I was like, wow, this is the best use of the song Cats in a movie ever.
Yes. Knowing full well that there is a movie called Cats that has that song.
But like slowing them, like just kittens running, and like, you know what? That is exactly what having Iman Vellani in your movie allows you to do. Because you have a movie with a character that has this joy, and you get to have these moments, right? And to contrast them with Captain Marvel's like, background, her desire to do right, her actions having created something that she didn't want to see happen, the fallout from those actions, and to have this levity on the side where it's like, Ms. Marvel is recognizing the like scary. In the show they do this too, but like really this is like people are dying, they're making hard choices.
Yep.
Her getting that like understanding of what it means to be a hero, and Captain Marvel seeing this hope and this light. And so to have this sequence really just like, I'm like, no, this makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because it encapsulates the rest of the sensation of the film.
And thematically, like having or synergistically having like a character, like the place that Captain Marvel is in this movie, where she has earned this title of the Annihilator. She's like, her adoptive home has rejected her. She has doomed it to destruction.
Yep.
She feels like she is not hopeful. she does not represent hope. In fact, there's like literally like a galaxy-wide nickname for her,
Yep.
and it's the opposite of of what she wants. And then to see this like totemic example, of a young person who's taken on her identity basically, or her ideals, and sees only the good. It's a really like powerful message, and it really works for like, it informs Ms. Marvel's character, but it also helps to like push Captain Marvel to grow into the person that she doesn't believe she could be anymore. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff in there. I'm like, wow, that's really nice. And it, again, without any character being like, you're the person that represents what I could be, or I didn't think that anyone could ever believe in me again. There's no moment like that, because we have it in the movie, in like intrinsically in the DNA of the flick we're watching.
Yeah, no, but that's why like the Flurkin kitten scene really, really works for me, because it's just it matches the tone.
Yeah, there's no scene
where it's like they're in a dire situation and this adorable like solution is chasing after you.
Right.
And you have like a the announcement being like, dude, stop running from the Flurkins.
Allow the Flurkins to eat you.
If you grew up playing Portal, that type of humor is going to hit you, right? In just in the right way. It is joyful while being surrounded by like utter doom.
Absolutely.
Which, like, I really appreciate it. And you would think that having a movie with a trio of protagonists might be hard to balance it.
Right.
But I appreciate it. It's like these three characters have a relationship.
Yes.
Right. And the more difficult one is the Monica Rambeau or
both...
Ms. Marvel like relationship, but they make it work.
Yeah, like we don't really see a ton of interaction between Ms. Marvel and Photon,
right?
/ Captain Marvel / whatever her name would be,
right?
But the what is there, I think, works, because the reality is both of them want something from Carol.
Yes.
Right? Like both of them want something from Carol. One wants both of them want a mentor.
Yeah.
And also like one of them wants like, absolution, or they want to provide that. And the other one just wants acceptance.
Yes.
And they both get it inevitably through this like circumstance that is against their will, that they use and powerfully, in a way that doesn't make, I don't think, and again, like I didn't hear any negativity about that.
No.
It's interesting, like their ability to master their power trading.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it's earned, because throughout the whole like first third of the movie,
I think it's like
maybe
almost half.
Like it's frustrating, it's difficult, and it's like it's an inconvenience.
Yes.
And they were like, let's take this inconvenience and turn it into like a power.
Yeah, like to like a leg up. I would say you could also look at the relationship in another light, where Monica and Kamala see something in Carol that Carol can't see in herself.
Definitely.
And it's up, like they help to draw that out. Like they help her to realize that yes, maybe she has failed, or maybe her actions didn't create what she wanted to, but that happens to a lot of people. And that doesn't mean that you hide and abandon them.
Right.
Let people help you, let your family in. And I was like, that's just really cool. Like Kamala obviously comes from a very strong family unit. We see that evident. Monica doesn't have any family at all.
Right.
And so they both have these like just different backgrounds that are coming at Carol, and Carol's kind of like, I just like being alone with my cat because the cat can't judge me.
Exactly.
Even though we all know
that
Flurkins,
they are. Exactly. Bionic Kasai says, so happy that you like the movie. I love it, and the hate has been really bumming me out. Really hope you both like it. I'm glad you did.
I've read a bit of the hate because I was like, I wanted to just know what was out there. And everyone has a right to their
exactly. I'm not going to dismiss out of hand people's criticisms of a movie, especially one that like is not like, this ain't Shakespeare.
No.
It's not even Iron Man.
And no one's pretending that it is. I'm not saying for what this movie is, I really enjoyed
exactly
it,
the same way. Like Far From Home.
Yeah.
It's not a Spider-Man movie I wanted.
Right.
But the movie that they made is effective and capable. Like it is the movie they wanted to make. And it features Spider-Man. I enjoyed it, and I had to divorce myself from my expectations, because clearly everybody's expectations is to just have Spider-Man 2 every day. But, it wasn't what I wanted.
Yes.
But it was still a movie that managed to succeed in its execution. This is one of those things too. But again, I didn't ask for a Marvel's movie. So it was like, I just got to enjoy it as it was. Yeah. I had no preconceived expectations. And I think another part of it is that people had expectations for Marvel. And this is the next one.
Yeah.
and people were like, damn it.
Well,
like, this isn't going to be the
I
fix that we need.
it's interesting because it's like, a lot of people saying the praises of Guardians 3, but that's also like an ending.
That like the Guardians movies work very hard to be almost isolated from the rest of the narrative.
For sure. And so I think more what people had in the back of their minds was, if you were a Marvel fan, it was Secret Invasion, it was Ant-Man, it was maybe the Doctor Strange movie if you weren't a fan of
Multiverse
that.
Madness.
Yeah, like there was just too many things that might be souring people.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie isn't trying to like set up a Kang. It's not trying to, further whatever the next like leg of the phase has.
Or redeem some like mistake that people might have perceived the Marvel made.
There is like a moment at the very end that's like, hints at something they might be doing. But the overall movie is just 3 characters coming together who all have a link in comics.
Yeah.
Meeting each other for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And how that interaction might go. It's a basic plot.
Right. It's a shame it couldn't have been the first Captain Marvel movie. I think that people would have really accepted this if this was, but it wouldn't work because it is a sequel.
Yeah, you needed
to know who Ms. Marvel is in some way. You need to have already established Captain Marvel first.
Yep, for sure.
Samuel Force, you said Marvel's projects are lower quality. Do you think it will improve? Is it doomed to be Star Wars meets DCEU? No, I think that the thing is, I think that Loki and this movie are actually good indications that we're in a good place.
Yeah,
I also
hopefully an
I
upswing.
liked Hawkeye. I liked WandaVision. There were a lot of, I liked Eternals, which may invalidate all of my opinions according to some people, which I couldn't care less, eat me. But I liked Eternals. I think that was a really good entry into that universe, despite the fact that I think the Eternals are one of the most boring properties I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
I genuinely thought it was I was like, this is a good idea and a good execution. The director had a real vision and executed it well. And you can't tell me that the CG in Eternals isn't better than Quantumania. It's way better.
Yeah.
And it's because of the way that they handled it, the way the director and the people involved shot and made that movie. But no, I don't think that Marvel, I think Marvel has been resting on their laurels too long. And I think that their TV shows are clearly the real blemishes in their archive.
Yeah.
But like She-Hulk, I liked She-Hulk as much as I could. But there are some elements that just don't work, or they didn't work well enough, or $25 million an episode is a little steep.
Yeah.
And especially for you having cardboard cutouts supporting cast members. That was one of my biggest criticisms the entire time of She-Hulk. Was She-Hulk is kind of clearly defined, but no one else is.
Yeah.
And and they knew it because they threw Daredevil at us. They're like, here's Daredevil. Please don't pay attention to the fact that literally nobody else has a personality.
Right.
Sound by Shame. ComicPop woo to you too.
Woo.
Thanks for your support. Enjoyed the movie, had fun regardless of the weak plot and villain. My question is, why is the CG so clean and polished? The first scene on that planet, where's the dirt and grime? Yeah, just I saw there were at least 3 different VFX departments working on it, and God knows who did what and how. But
it's funny. It's 9 times out of 10 I don't notice that stuff until we see it later on a different screen,
right?
Because they're made to be seen on a movie screen. So
that's the thing with Marvel. That's the thing with the Marvel space universe.
Yeah,
Star Wars, Andor has dirt on everything. Real Star Wars, the first trilogy has dirt on everything. Hell, even some of the prequels have dirt all over stuff. Marvel is very clean and polished. Marvel is very much like that.
it's a superhero look.
It's a superhero look. It's the Marvel superhero look. Cat Lawyer, Ms. Marvel was a show stealer. Yes, she was. She completely stole the show.
Absolutely.
The end made me think of what you guys said recently about cameos feeling unearned. I need Loki to kill the multiverse. CJ, CPop woo to you too.
Thanks, CJ. Thank you.
Switching places, fight scenes was great. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I couldn't help but in the beginning, that first sequence of the 3 of them switching, I can't imagine how much fun the choreographers must have had with that, or how difficult it must have been to sequence that out, where it's okay, we have to film this part of this sequence with this, or maybe they just filmed the whole sequence with one actress and then
reshot.
I don't know. I really liked it quite a bit.
Yeah,
just good stuff.
Right.
Good stuff.
And Adam Thenhouse, glad to know Fury doesn't hold a grudge. He still snuggles with a Flurkin. It's true.
Freaking yes.
I still don't like that. I still wish that they saved the eye patch reveal for Wolverine. But
yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
but I loved that. So let's talk about the post-credit scenes before we end the show.
Absolutely.
Post-credit.
Any last thoughts about like just overall?
Oh, I wanted, I loved it. I wish that they established what, Monica Rambeau's code name. I know we teased it, but we didn't really get it. I don't think anybody said it unless I lost it in the sound.
No, I don't think so. I'm wondering if what they'll do is hold it off for someone else to give her that.
Right. That's fine with me.
And we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, but that was cool.
Yeah, quite a bit.
But I liked her a lot. I loved all of them, and I found Carol was a lot easier to like embrace as a character in this one versus previous iterations, and I think that's all because of the execution of the flick. Ms. Marvel stole the show.
I just feel like I had no problem with her the first time through either, but I feel like this pays off where she came from. You know what I mean? Like, you needed the background of the first movie in order for her to be in the headspace she's in here, in order to allow for the growth of the character.
Right.
You know, almost like you have a character who can change and whatever.
Exactly. So yeah, I talking about the end credits scene, or the end of the movie scene.
Yeah.
Which I guarantee was going to be the mid-credit scene. Was Ms. Marvel goes to meet Kate Bishop, and she's like, "We're putting a team together." Maybe
that was how does she know what Fury did? Maybe she asked him.
Yeah. But yeah, I love that.
Her own little well.
Exactly, so funny. And I love seeing Kate Bishop because I think that she's just amazing. I want to see more Kate Bishop, Hawkeye in the Marvel universe. I'm like, finally, let's go.
Yeah,
let's do this. She references Ant-Man's daughter. We could be doing Young Avengers. We could be doing A-Force. I don't know. I don't care.
I assume it's Young Avengers.
Right. I want more. I want that.
Yeah.
That's what I like. That's it. That was a Marvel post-credit scene that I am in for.
Yeah.
People in the theater were like, "Oh, not us." Like, people were, because our theater was pretty crowded. It wasn't the ghost town that people on Twitter would have you believe.
Yeah.
But that was cute. I really enjoyed that. I'm just here for more Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Like, put Kate Bishop in one of these things. Let's go. But that was great.
I love her being like, talking about kids.
Yes, and she's like, "I'm 23." I'm not a child. But that was great. And then we get to the big one, the
actual one, which Sal apparently had been spoiled on, and I wasn't.
Yeah, TikTok just showed a picture of the character. Like, it wasn't even a video. It was just a still. That was just a TikTok video.
Wow. Okay.
I was like, "Oh, cool."
I legitimately like gasped.
Yeah.
At that. Gasped.
Right. So Beast.
Yeah.
Well, Monica has to close the portal on the other side of another universe. She ends up in the Fox universe, or a Fox universe. She gets picked up by that universe's binary, formerly Captain Marvel, but and played by Monica's mom.
Yeah.
/ the Captain Marvel of that universe from Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, with they couldn't pull him from anywhere, actually.
Exactly. But I have a theory about that, and it's not really a theory so much as just my opinion. But like, so she gets pulled out of space. She gets brought to the Xavier mansion because we see the basement, we see the X on the wall, or the X door, and Beast is checking her out, and we have one of the most emotional scenes in the entire movie.
Yeah, that was.
I couldn't believe how I felt watching that sequence.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
And I was like, and I'm glad we had it before we do the reveal of Beast.
Yes.
Because
100%.
it was just like a moment, because I didn't want to be like upset or thinking about stuff while Beast is like, "Oh." And I'm like, okay. But Monica's face to face with her friggin' dead mom.
Yeah.
Just whoa.
Yeah.
And then Beast's like, "Yeah." And I'm here too. And
I
I look more comic book accurate than I did when I was when I had practical effects on my face.
Yes.
And that's great too, because it allows for Kelsey Grammer to just voice some stunt person to play him. And again, he looks like a CG bear. Like, he looks CG. He looks very CG. I feel like they probably finished it yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, I guarantee you it's not a finished thing, but even if it is, that's how it is nowadays. I hate it, and it sucks, and I want it to be practical. But again, he looks like dog shit in the fucking X-Men movies, so I'm not really that upset that he looks more comic book accurate, but also more like a cartoon character.
Right.
This is the way of things now. I'm just stuck watching CG bears. They will never get a real bear. They'll never get a costume for a bear. They're never gonna get the fur right for bears.
I'm sorry.
And they're never gonna get Beast to look like a friggin' real Beast.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It's a shame, but whatever. But so And he's just like, okay, what? I'm in the movie. Like, there's no real we're not getting anything. There's no dialogue that really reveals anything except that the professor's there. So we know this is not the Multiverse of Madness universe.
I mean, it could be.
Professor X freaking got his jaw ripped off by Wanda.
But it could be beforehand. We don't know.
That universe is dead.
Yeah, it's true.
That universe is over. No, the way I look at it, I think that the way they're going to try to do this is that if we are building to Incursions and we're building to the Secret Wars,
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be 2 universes left, and the 2 universes are going to be the Fox universe and the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
And the Fox universe will have basically all the other characters from any ancillary things, like Ben Affleck Daredevil,
right,
or Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Although
yeah,
I think Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is going to be like the exception, where it's like the Spider-Verse is separate from the Marvel Foxiverse.
Right.
But I think that the way they're looking at it, and the way that I'm looking at it, is that like it's essentially they're treating it like when the Marvel Cinematic Universe started, it was Iron Man. And as they moved forward, they added more characters and the universe got expansive and more revealed about like that universe and all the crap in it. And all the characters and all the like expansive stuff. The Foxverse did the same thing. That like even though the Fox universe stopped making movies, the universe kept expanding. So like Binary did appear in that universe if the universe kept going forward. Like there are Shi'ar in that universe. There are Sentinels in that universe. Like it did it marveled the same way that the MCU did.
Mm-hmm.
And we just didn't see it.
Right.
So like Beast looks like real Beast now. And like Professor X, maybe it's James McAvoy in a bald cap. You know, because Patrick Stewart is friggin' old.
He's old.
We did the thing. We did the Professor then. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like maybe we'll mix and match. Like Nicholas Hoult is out as Beast. Kelsey Grammer's in as like the physical Beast, you know, voice actor.
Yeah.
But like James McAvoy will be Professor X because he's a little older and, you know, his voice isn't shot. You know, like who knows? But I think that's the way they're treating it. It's like there's going to be 2 prime universes, the Fox one and and they met like the Tim Story Fantastic Four or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's those things. I don't know. But that's the thing about that mid-credit scene is that it's getting you, hopefully, you see, if you saw it, it would get people talking.
Yeah, because you're wondering what is this?
What is this?
And that's what's so nice about that post-credit scene is that it's just like a little, it's not like saying, and now we will be doing this. You're like, what?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Right, exactly. So like that was fun. We also got like an almost comic book accurate costume for Binary, which I was like, wow, I still don't like that suit, and there it is. I never liked the Binary suit. Nothing to do with who plays him or who plays or who wears it.
Just didn't like it. Period.
It's just not a very good suit. I prefer the Ms. Marvel suit or the Ms. Marvel or Binary suit. She was Binary then too.
Yeah,
the one with the hip thing.
Sure.
Either one. You know, there's the full body one, and then there's they're all full body. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I like those. The Binary suit is fun though. It was cool to see it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll change by the time we see her next time.
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's interesting that one scene says a lot and it makes you question a lot. Obviously, in that universe, she never had Monica.
Right. Well, because she became Captain Marvel instead, or Binary.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's neat. Oh, and so this universe will not be the Multiverse of Madness universe, you know. But hey,
but that's
maybe
who I'm wondering might give her name.
Yes. Oh, her mom. Yes, her mom will tell her.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Wouldn't that be
cool.
nice?
I love that. I think if we're ever going to see the payoff to this, it will be in Deadpool 3.
Yeah, maybe that's how she gets back.
Yeah.
Like Deadpool's like, come on.
Right. That'll be the post-credit scene. Let's go. I don't know. There's a lot riding on Deadpool 3. I think that
it feels like it.
I think that Deadpool 3. I think Deadpool 3 might make $1 billion.
It could. I don't know.
I think that I want to believe those days are over.
It's hard to tell, but
like,
I mean,
I think it's obscene to assume every one of these movies is going to make $1 billion. I think it's ridiculous.
I agree,
but I also think that more people.
I think it's going to do very well for a number of reasons.
Yes.
You know,
people are hungry for good Marvel. People are hungry for an exciting.
Well, if they're hungry for good Marvel,
they should go see the Marvels.
But there's reasons they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But I would say part of the reason that Deadpool 3 will probably do really well is that Ryan Reynolds he can't help himself. He's just a good marketer. Yeah. Like he's just a good marketer. And like that movie is also going to come out when there isn't, thank you. I was going to do that eventually.
No, it's fine.
He's not going to be going out during a strike.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone will be able to blitz the friggin'
So like
that's red carpet.
That's not helping. And so like, you know, a lot of people's negativity towards this could also just be because it's like, well, no one's going to see it because I'm looking at these numbers, and it's like, well, this movie also didn't get to advertise like a movie normally would.
Right.
At all.
No.
Like at all.
If we had put these three in the chair on any late night show in front of video,
it might have done better.
Maybe playing with kittens, like the Keanu Reeves video where he's playing with puppies, like
playing with Flurkins.
Yeah, I mean, if I were Marvel, I would have done that the day after they friggin' ended the strike.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I dig it. I enjoyed it. You know, is it my favorite Marvel movie? No, but like it doesn't like I don't really have one anymore.
I don't worry about favorites.
Exactly.
You never like each day of the week I could be like, oh, I want to see this. I really want to do that.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, whatever. I really enjoyed this movie a lot. It was just fun. I wanted something fun.
Right. And it is.
And in that moment, that's exactly what
I
got.
Despite the fact that the planets are being destroyed, it's a very low stakes, fun, genuine attempt to entertain you.
It's like, you know what it is? It just there's a nostalgia factor to it because the runtime of it plus the like way the nature of the movie makes it feel like kind of more of a classic action flick.
Yeah.
Where it's like the good guys are going to be good and they're going to do the right thing and they're going to make sacrifices and we're going to have a couple laughs along the way. And like there was just something very comforting about that. And I just really had a good time with it.
I agree. So yeah, I think if you're looking for something to do this week/weekend, go check out the Marvels. Like, check it out. I think it's worth it, especially. And look, you're gonna have seats, and you might be able to catch a matinee if you're really not looking to spend too much. But like, I think it's definitely worth checking out. I think it's worth seeing in the theaters. And again, as I said, there's no post credit scene, so you can leave after you see Beast.
Just some meowing.
Yeah, it meows, and it's like, oh, that's cute.
Or purrs, I don't remember.
It purrs and meows. I think it's just cats.
It's just cute, whatever.
But yeah, any closing thoughts? Any other things to say?
Yeah,
about
really
that
looking
movie
forward to
we
seeing
wrap up?
more from these characters, especially from Ms. Marvel. I think she's got a bright future ahead of her. I think just the commitment she brings to her character, her positivity, the way she's able to like really just encapsulate the character and also cares about the comics themselves. It means a lot. I think it means a lot, and I wish people understood that it's like, do you know how many of these other actors barely know anything about the comics that they come from? And here you have an actress who's just like, I'm writing one of them.
Right. That's true.
Like, that's really cool. Like,
I agree.
If everyone's willing to give Paul Dano so much praise because he co-wrote a Riddler book or wrote a Riddler book, whatever, after playing the Riddler, then you got to give the same credit to her for writing Ms. Marvel.
I agree. Yeah, she's co-writing it also.
Co-writing it.
But just to point that out.
Yeah.
But Girk Pectus, I hated the movie, but excited for Young Avengers. I'm shocked. Totally shocked. BB Metalhead 04, Ms. Marvel, get in loser, we're forming a super team. Exactly. That is what this book is. That movie is. Hulkzilla, glad you enjoyed the movie. Now I'm excited to watch it myself. I don't mind spoilers. Always better to enjoy something than to stew in pessimistic bile.
Agree.
Can't argue with that. Thank you very much.
Myself.
Rivy, my first thought was, I wonder if this beast is an evil monster too.
Boy.
I think there couldn't possibly be a worse beast than the one that's being currently established in the actual main universe of Marvel. Sound by Shane, thanks for your support. We appreciate it. And Dex Baker, I was already planning to see this eventually, but you sold the movie to me. Here's your check from Disney. Exactly.
Oh, thank you very much.
But let me know what you think, by the way, Dex. If you end up watching this movie because you saw this review, let us know in the comments down below or in the chat for the next episode, which will be this Monday.
Yeah.
Around 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, between 5 and 6.
Oh, we are?
Oh, was it?
Okay.
No, that's right.
No, we might.
We probably not.
No, we might. We should.
Well, put it in the comments down below and let us know what you think about whether we were right or not.
Yeah. And again, just go. It's just action. It's fun.
Yeah.
Just go in hoping to have some fun.
Let's recommend some comics that are coming out this week that we think
on our comic book review show.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Batman and Robin 3 is coming out. You got to check that out. If you're interested in D-Rex, Fantastic Four 13 is also there. Immortal Thor 4, it's a good read. It's ridiculous. Al Ewing, why not check that out? Blade 5, if you were ever wondering about Blade, read the last 4 issues of Blade and get back on the horse. Spirit Spider-Man #1 is coming out, which would be cool to see. I read that like preview book, and we'll see how this fares as well. Let's see. Alien 1 is coming out. There's another Alien reboot coming out from, of course, 20th Century Comics or whatever the hell. Tom King has a super sad book from Boom Studios called Animal Pound. That is
I'm not reading that.
No, it's Animal Farm, but in a
I'm not reading.
animal shelter.
I'm just not reading.
So it'll be
that.
super miserable and
Nah.
depressing.
No, I'm sure it's great, but no, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do that, man.
Oh. And
Yeah, I got a lot.
Yeah, and I believe that's it from me, but we'll see what Tiffany has to say.
Okay, let's. I barely could look at them as you were like flying past them. Ghost Rider number 20 will be coming out, so I'm gonna definitely be grabbing that. Dark X-Men number 4. Chasm.
Hey, Chasm. Oh, I should point out I couldn't find the actual data. I wanted to really quick.
Sure.
I didn't find any support for a quote that I paraphrased that I saw, I believe, on Reddit, but I asked people to point it out if they could, which they didn't, but they did stitch it on Twitter and cause a lot of bullshit. But I should point out that, like,
oh, did you get in trouble?
I didn't get in trouble out loud, but I'm sure that, like, I'm blacklisted somewhere. But, like, if you have I had a problem with, like, the use of Chasm, with the use of Ben Reilly, with the direction of the Spider-Man line. But one thing you should never do is attack the creatives involved. You can be mad. You can go on r/Spider-Man and complain with the rest of them, or you could go on r/comicbooks and make a friggin' like stink about that, or go on Twitter and complain endlessly. But, like, or make your own podcast where you can, try to monetize it. But, like, don't tweet at, send letters to, or vaguely threaten anyone involved in any regard for any reason, but especially in this context where, like, people whose names are out there because they want credit for the work they're doing are being used by people who don't understand the difference between fiction and reality. You don't say things like, I'm going to blow up an office on Twitter without repercussions. You don't say things like, I'm going to kill so-and-so without repercussions, or at least without, like, the context of, I'm creating fear and I'm instilling terror and I'm, like, freaking people out, or even if people understand where they, like, where, that it's a vague, fake, hyperbolic threat, you don't get to decide whether that's true or not. You don't get to decide how people are going to interpret your insane ramblings or, like, or non, meaning threats. So keep that shit to yourself. All right? And don't do that. And especially don't do it subtweeting me.
Oh, yeah.
Don't use me as some kind of a mouthpiece for your insanity. And keep that shit to yourself. It's just like, I don't mind when moments, I'll stand by what I say, but don't take moments from the show and put it on Twitter and then go, like, this is a thing that makes me want to kill someone. That is sick. And you genuinely need help. And I don't believe that you should be hurt or punished for your actions. I think you need to get serious mental help if you think that's an appropriate response to what happens to a fictional character you have no actual viable stake in, for a comic book you probably don't even buy. So anyway, what else is coming out?
Hexagon Bridge number 3 is coming out. This is Richard Blake, art and writing on that one. Love this book a lot.
I know.
I didn't realize this was an ongoing series, and I did not get a chance to read the first one, but I own it. But I just want to point out, if you read Capwolf and the Howling Commandos, there's a second issue.
What? Why?
I guess it's an ongoing,
all right,
or at least a mini. It has more than one issue.
Yeah,
it has more than 2 issues.
Oh,
it has more than it's like 4 issue.
Looks like at least 4.
It's a potentially 4 issue mini or more. Who knows? I don't know. That's
of Capwolf and the Howling Commandos.
Yeah, that exactly that. There's a whole bunch of, like, indie books that are coming out that I might want to check out, but I want to give a shout out to one of them in particular.
Please do.
I have to go to a comic book store and get a copy of this. 100%. It needs to happen.
Did you mention Spine Tingling Spider-Man?
I did not. Oh, is that coming out? Where is that? Spine Tingling Spider-Man number 2 is coming out. Frickin' Saladin Ahmed, Juan Ferreira on art. Man, this book took a hard left in the last issue.
Yes, it did.
And I am here for it. I'm very excited for that. I just also want to give a shout out. I just checking this out. There's a Deadpool book coming out, called Seven Slaughters #1.
Oh, cool.
It's like got a whole bunch of people writing it.
Wow, look
Gail
at
Simone,
that.
Cullen Bunn, Rob Liefeld, Greg Land is doing some art in
Oh,
this.
wonderful.
But like for those people who love Deadpool and just want more,
Yeah.
maybe this is something you're looking for, right?
Right?
The indie book I'm talking about that like I have to get a copy of is an Image book that's coming out called The Deviant. It's a Christmas story.
Ooh.
By James Tynion IV. As snow falls over Milwaukee in 1972, a bloodstained Santa Claus commits unimaginable atrocities. I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
So you're doing a snow
like
horror
a Ted
book
Bundy Santa
set at Christmas.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm reading that.
Yeah.
100%. So yeah, I'm
Sweet.
sure it'd be creepy and horrible. I love the first cover. The cover of that first issue it is fire.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So
Right?
I'm gonna need that.
Totally.
Hopefully that's good.
I'll put it on the list.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, everybody. We want to thank you so much for watching. I should point out, listen, I'm only talking to people who probably don't even watch the show when I'm like getting upset about that.
No, that's fine.
We fostered an amazing community, and I would hate.
You guys are awesome.
You guys are amazing, and you support us, and
And
more
you guys
importantly,
didn't
you
shout out
understand.
spoilers during the show.
You're cool. We've created a really amazing community. You guys are amazing and thoughtful and intelligent and passionate and emotional, and it's wonderful. It's a joy to do this job. But if you're gonna clip something, you know what I mean. At least watch the rest of the show. But thank you very much to our super chatters for sponsoring today's show. You kept the riffraff out of here, and of course, and when I say riffraff, I mean like any corporate messery.
Yeah.
But we'll see you guys next week with another episode. To make sure to watch Tiffany on twitch.tv/ComicPop or youtube.com/ @ComicPop Plays. All links are in the description below this video. If you're interested in following us anywhere else, of course, supporting us helps us out by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, or going to patreon.com/ComicPop. And we'll see you guys next week with another episode. Or for the following week, we'll see on here at ComicPop Returns. So long, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.